projeto pretende incrementar a internacionalização das empresas portuguesas nos mercados do Japão, Coreia do Sul e China. Hoje falaremos da abordagem aos mercados da China, com a apresentação de 3 oradores internacionais nesta primeira parte, onde falaremos em inglês, e numa segunda parte com a presença de 2 empresas portuguesas com experiência no mercado-alvo, que nos poderão falar um pouco mais do seu testemunho e das suas experiências no mercado. Por último, teremos uma sessão de perguntas e respostas para conseguir responder a todas as vossas dúvidas. Gostaria de começar a apresentar então os oradores internacionais. On behalf of AP, I would like to thank our international speakers for their availability on being here today. I would like to start with Mr. John Paul from Asia Assist that will talk with us a little bit more about communication and e-commerce. Mr. John Paul Smith, thank you so much and welcome.
Thank you very much for having me today. So today I will talk to you about the rules of communication and marketing in China. Bom dia, Zhao Shanghao. So our company, Asia Assist, helps brands like yourself, also in the food and the beverage industry, to scale up fast in the Chinese market. We have over 20 brands, over 3 locations, and we process over 1,000 orders per day. Some of our brand partners are very well-known food and beverage companies, FMCG companies like Unilever, but we are also active in the consumer healthcare and in the infant nutrition. So we know what it is, how to position and market and sell a brand to the Chinese consumer. Today, I will show you also a case study of a water brand that we have helped to enter the Chinese market. So communication and marketing in China is key to succeed. There are 3 key main trends happening in the Chinese market. Chinese consumers are looking for a consumption upgrade, meaning they are looking for better quality products to upgrade their lifestyle. Many brands are already active and selling in China, so Chinese consumers have a rich choice of products they can choose. So they're really looking for a premium product in a niche. A second trend that we see is that a lot of sales happen in China via e-commerce. Around 35 to 40% of all the retail sales, even for food, is purchased through an app or an online e-commerce platform. But those e-commerce platforms and those apps are just not e-commerce only. They are platforms also that are becoming media platforms, sharing content, sharing information, doing live streaming, making videos. So it's really about educating the consumer and interacting with them in a very content-driven and a social way. And the last trend that is happening is new retail. Chinese consumers don't only buy food or FMCG products in the supermarket or in the grocery store, but they're buying it online and they get delivered it to their home. But also supermarkets, as we know them in Europe, people go into the supermarket, but see the products, but order it through an online app, pay online, walk home, and 30 minutes later, they get the groceries delivered to their house. So online and offline is really merging. A second thing is the shopping culture. Like I said just before, online and marketing and e-commerce is not only about just having your product listed, but it's about publishing content about your brand, about your products, about the values that your brand stands for, or the region where you are from. Content is really important. The more, the better. I will show you. And lastly, packaging. Chinese consumers, they care and value the product experience, but they really care about the package that the product is wrapped in. Especially for special events, if it's Chinese New Year, the color for Chinese New Year is red. A lot of brands do their packaging of their products in a red color. How do new brands get discovered in the Chinese market? Traditionally, in Europe, you can do ads on TV, you can have maybe your own independent website, or advertise through other places. But for Chinese consumers, the two most important things are search engines and word-of-mouth marketing, where word-of-mouth marketing is really growing a lot in the Chinese market. I will show you some examples of this.
Mr. John Paul, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I'm sorry, I think we have a small problem because we are not seeing the right slides. I think you are trying to pass the slides, but we are not being able, we only can see the first slide, I believe.
Okay.
I'm sorry for this and for interrupting.
No worries. Do you see my slide?
Not yet. Can you try to share again, please?
Yeah. I think you see it now.
Now we have the second slide.
Okay. So very quick,
yes,
I said
it's working. It's working.
I said bon dia, Zhao Shanghao.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
No worries. Very short. Like I said about our company, we process over 1,000 orders per day and we represent over 20 brands in the Chinese market. Some of our brands are Unilever, very famous in the FMCG, but also we represent infant nutrition and consumer healthcare brands. We really know what it is, how to scale a brand in the Chinese market. I mentioned just now before 3 trends. And this is the slide that I wanted to show you, is consumption upgrade. Online is really important in the Chinese market because 35 to 40% of all the retail sales, but the consumer buys, happens through e-commerce. If it's now an app or it's an e-commerce website, even for food and beverages or other FMCG products. But those online platforms or those apps are just not a place where you just click and buy the product and get it delivered to your home. It's really becoming a media platform. And what do I mean with a media platform? Those platforms try to publish a lot of content, informational content, educational content about which product should you drink, at which moment of the day, why are certain products are good, what are the ingredients of the products, but also where are the brands coming from, what are the stories about the brand. And the last thing is that offline and online shopping are really merging. Like I said about the supermarket, people go into the supermarket, see the products, touch the products, feel the products, can smell the products, but they buy the product on an app while walking through the supermarket. And they pay through the app and they get a product delivered 30 minutes later home. Jack Ma from Alibaba calls this new retail, which is really a fast developing area of commerce in China. I also said that the shopping culture is a big thing in the Chinese market. More content and really quality packaging. Like I said with Chinese New Year, many brands wrap their products in red, but also during Singles Day on the 11th of November, brands choose a specific packaging for promotion, as you can see here. What I think is key for any new brand to enter the Chinese market is to understand is where do you need to play? How do you promote your brand? The main way to promote your brand in the Chinese market is through a search engine or through word of mouth marketing. I will especially go into the word of mouth marketing because that's a key thing for brands to get some awareness with the Chinese consumers. But first to understand is how is the market landscape in the Chinese market? There are actually 3 big players. Alibaba, we all know them from Tmall. Baidu. Baidu is the equivalent of Google. Google is not allowed in China. Instagram is not allowed. So we all have Chinese variants. Baidu is the Google of China. And you have Tencent. And Tencent is a social media app. And it replaces really a lot of things. It replaces Facebook. It replaces a little bit of Instagram. So these 3 channels or companies are really key partners for you if you want to grow your brand in the Chinese market. So one of them I showed is Baidu. Baidu is the key search engine. 60% of all the internet searches in the Chinese market happen through Baidu. It's just a website, baidu.com, and it works exactly like Google. But advertising here, like you do in Europe, is not the way to go in the Chinese market. In the Chinese market, there are 3 channels that are really important. WeChat, which is very similar to a combination of Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. Weibo, that is equivalent to Twitter, and KOLs. KOLs means key opinion leaders. We know them as influencers that we mostly see through Instagram. The Chinese market landscape has many apps. So it's not like in Europe there are a few big channels, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, that you want to advertise. But in China there are many different verticals and many small apps that focus on a specific target audience and niche. So to know on which channel, you need to know your consumer. And you need to know the role of the platform. For FMCG channels, the platform you choose and the platform through which you communicate is extremely important. For example, you can have your store on Tmall where you publish content, where you work with live streamers, influencers, and really establish the positioning, the pricing, and the brand awareness and the communication you want to do for your consumer. But a place like Tmall Supermarket, which also belongs to Tmall, but it's a completely different channel, is really important because on Tmall you have your brand awareness, you communicate your brand story, but most likely through the Tmall Supermarket is where they will buy your products. This is also really important in terms of where do you do your media spend. China is very big. A lot of brands are advertising. You have a limited marketing budget. So you need to choose the channel you advertise in very clearly. Is it above the line marketing? So working with more expensive influencers. Then you do that on Tmall. But do you want to advertise just on specific keywords? Let's say water from Portugal or wine from Portugal. Then those keywords that you advertise on, you don't do that on Tmall, but you do that within the Tmall Supermarket. Because there you find your consumer that will buy your product. And next to that, there are also, let's say, reselling channels. Reselling channels where you also need to advertise both above the line and below the line. But communication about your brand and your product, you would say, what is the best marketing way? The best marketing way is actually to start selecting your products. Over 80,000 brands on Singles Day on the 11th of November promote their products in one 24-hour big shopping festival to the Chinese consumer. So the Chinese consumer has a lot of choice in products. So when you go into the Chinese market and you want to do good marketing, you need to know what is the product that you advertise on. You need to have a very clear hero product. It can be 1 or 2 products out of your whole product portfolio. You need to know what is the real USP of this product, what's the communication I want to bring across, and how do I advertise on that. And based on that, you can create organic traffic, paid traffic, and campaign traffic. In this way, you can grow your brand. In China, you don't grow a brand. In China, you grow a hero product. So when you do marketing, it is always about the hero product in your portfolio. Once that product becomes well known, then your brand becomes well known. You never start advertising your brand. You always start with the hero product. Here, it is very important to know, is your brand well known? Are people going to search for your brand? Or is your product more like a category seeker? For example, people who search on Nike are brand seekers. But people who search on sneakers, they are category seekers. In the FMCG, are people looking for Portuguese wine? Then they search on from a very specific category. Wine from Portugal. But if you are a well-known brand from Portugal and you have perhaps some brand awareness, then Chinese consumers will search for your brand. So you really need to understand, is my brand well known? What is my hero product? And how I really push that one product to the Chinese consumer. Doing that, you will start to know is who is your Chinese consumer, who is buying your product. You need to know your target audience, because if you know your target audience, you can do very clear advertising in China. Advertising in China is nowadays all online. So for every little thing, every little banner that you publish, you need to pay a cost for the consumer to click on that through the app or through the website. You can spend very fast a lot of your budget because people are bidding against each other. So you need to know who are my fans in order to select the right channel to work with the right influencer in China. Understanding this is key to success, to having a good communication and a good marketing message to the Chinese consumer. In China, like I said before, there are many apps. So you need to choose the right apps for news, video streaming, and other channels. You can advertise in China by having banners, advertising on search on keywords, but also what you see on the left is through content. We call those Taobao bloggers, where you explain the history and the value of your products. Live streaming is a key trend in the Chinese market, especially if you are a brand from Portugal, you're in the FMCG, you have a product that's high quality, that is locally manufactured. People from China, they would like to understand, where is it manufactured? How does it look like? Where is, for example, with wine, where are the grapes? Where are the wine fields? Through live streaming, you can really show where your brand is from, how your product is made, and why your product is so good for the Chinese consumer. In China, to bring that message across, you can do advertising or you can work with influencers. The influencer marketing market in China is very well developed. You have top influencers, medium influencers, and micro influencers. You will need each type of influencer to bring the message across to your consumer. Top influencers are very expensive. They have a lot of followers, but they only promote your product maybe for 2 minutes or maybe in only one post on the social media account. By using a right combination of top influencers, medium influencers, and micro influencers, you can really have a big reach and accelerate your message across many channels. I explained some theoretical things, but I would like to show a case study of a water brand. Like I said, there are many brands advertising in the Chinese market. So for this water brand, the Chinese market is incredibly competitive. You see here over 20 brands, all different packaging, different countries, and different benefits. Same like your brand if you would also sell in China. So how does the Chinese consumer know why should they buy your brand? Because there is so much choice. We do know that Chinese consumers expect premium from an imported brand. Like I said, packaging and an aspirational look is really important. That they have a good feeling about buying your brand all the way from Europe. And Chinese consumers are very conscious about their lifestyle, their fashion, the value a product can bring to operate their lifestyle. Like I said, if you are a water brand, you need to know who is my consumer. Which brands are they interested in? What type of packaging do they buy? Do they like to buy PET? Do they like to buy glass? Do they use different sizes of products? Half a liter or a liter or more is extremely important to know which pack type you put in which channel and where do you promote it. It's just not like you promote all your different bottle sizes in one channel and it will work. You need to know which one or two is going to work. And you need to know what is the decision. So for example, this target consumer buys a product for health benefits and gets influenced by friends and family and has very specific channels where they buy. Out of this, you can build a customer profile. So here you see Gao, and she's a busy urban mom. She works at a marketing company. Her income is 50,000 RMB per month. And the product she looks for is really not so much on the taste, not so much on the packaging, but really on the health benefits. So when you go into the Chinese market and you don't know your target consumer, and you don't know that one of the key motivations to buy a, let's say, imported water brand is for health benefits. If you don't bring that across in your marketing message, you will not succeed. So you need to know this. And then you need to translate your brand positioning, your brand role, the benefits. What is the personality of your brand? And what is the reasons to believe in your brand, from your global positioning to China specific. So for example, this water brand from the Netherlands, brand dares you to love water from the Netherlands. But that is not really going to work in China because there are many water brands from Switzerland, from Australia. So for China, you need to have a different brand role. For this brand, the role of the brand is translated to water is happiness. That people buy this brand and associate it with happiness. And happiness is some kind of a health benefit. But also your brand personality. In the Netherlands, the brand can be playful, curious. But for example, in China, people care about, is it a brand I can trust? Is it a real good product? So your personality of your brand changes for China very clearly to how you have it in your domestic market. This happens for all brands. So how does that look like in practice? So for this brand, we have looked at lifestyle, looking at the experience of a foreign brand, a little part of education, and to be a brand that is healthy. So what you see for this brand, we integrated education, this imported water brand. How can you mix the drink? Can you drink it purely out of the bottle, or can you mix it with another beverage? We create really great content because that is what the Chinese consumer like about. It is a video because the video you can publish everywhere, and you can see that we really try to make it an experience. But not only that, I said trustworthiness and a quality brand is really important. So a lot of the assets this brand has created is to really explain where is the product from, what is the source, is it, how deep is it under the ground, what are the exact ingredients in the product, and also how to use the product. So what is a little bit part of an education, what I said is, when do you drink the product, how do you drink it, what are creative ways to use it. And lastly is the influencers. So selecting the right influencer for the right audience. So it is with top KOLs, like here you have seen. So I hope today I explained to you a little bit about what is the theoretical aspect of going into the Chinese market, but also how it looks like in practice. Asiassist, our business model is e-commerce, retail, and marketing. And if you're interested in going into the Chinese market, we could help you with developing a strong business model to succeed in the Chinese market. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jean-Paul Smith. It was a pleasure to have you as one of our speakers. And thank you so much for the information that you shared with us. It was definitely very important and definitely interesting that we are having some insights and some practical cases about water, since we also have a Portuguese company here that will speak in a few minutes as well, with a water case example as well. Thank you so much. I will now pass the word to Mr. Rooney Long, the country manager in mainland China and Hong Kong from iCargo. He will speak with us a little bit more about logistics in China. Welcome, and thank you so much for being here today with us.
Hi. Good morning, Portugal, I should say. It is already 4:30 p.m. Hong Kong time. So let's go directly to my PowerPoint. Let me see. I have to share my screen. All right, I hope everybody can see my slide. So my company is AE Cargo Group of Logistics Services. Okay, let's have a very quick snapshot on China's trade regulation evolution. So China became a WTO member since 2001. And then from the year of 2018, China started to reduce import tariff at the beginning of daily consumer goods. And then the next stage in November 2018, China further reduced another 1,500 taxable items. And since today, I think it is more about food and beverages. So just for your information, the processed food, the import tariff was cut from 15.2% to nowadays at 6.8%. So and then in 2019, China has reformed their sales tax system. They reform it into a three-tier VAT system where imported goods VAT rate is now at 13%, 13%. And since the joining of WTO up to this moment, or up to 2020, actually, China tariff rate has been progressively lowered from 15.3% to 7.5%. And in 2005, the quota and licensing requirement, they began to remove most of the quota and licensing requirement, remaining only now 14 categories of commodity and about 156 56 items subject to import license control. And in 2018, they started to consolidate the import and export declaration an inspection form into a single custom declaration form, which make it much easier for all those customs formalities. And then the product standards, they have a safety license and compulsory product certification, and a quite complex control, especially on genetically modified food and ingredients. And in 2021, there is a new decree 249 administered by the General Administration of Customs. This is about the trade description and labeling. And one more very important ingredient in China. There are 21 free trade agreements with different economic blocs, and 10 are in negotiation and 8 are under consideration. And one very interesting one under this free trade agreement is CEPA, which is between mainland and Hong Kong. And this CEPA put Hong Kong into a very competitive edge in terms of being the gateway to and from mainland China market. So today is about F&B, food and beverages. I have some statistics to share with our audience. So this is the mainland China import, food import especially, by value. And in the as you can see, it is gradually increasing. And in 2021, the increase year to year is over 30% by value. And this is the import category. As you can see, the majority part are animal products and plant products, with the third one is the prepared foodstuff and beverages. Since I mentioned about the CEPA and giving Hong Kong or enabling Hong Kong being the important gateway between Hong Kong, China, and the rest of the world, this is the trade statistic about the food export to mainland China from Hong Kong. The orange bar, as you can see from here, are all the re-export food value into China. Importing good food and beverages into China, there are two very important regulations that you should know. It is effective from the 1st of January this year, 2022. The first one is the Decree 248. This is an administration provision on the registration of overseas manufacturers of imported foods. So all the importers must first register with the China Customs to get your registration number before you can import. And the second one is about the Decree 249. It is the administrative measures on import and export food safety. So it is all about standards and safeties. I have mentioned earlier before, in regarding the genetically modified food and ingredients, there are regulations governing the use of genetically modified food and ingredients, and the administering unit is the Health Administration Department of the State Council of China. So talking about my business, logistics. Here, I display the most busy container ports in China. I think many of you are familiar with, like, for example, Qingdao, Shanghai, Ningbo, Hong Kong, Shenzhen. And actually, there are many others like Tianjin or Xiamen. And in terms of busiest airport in China, this is the ranking table for 2021. So Shanghai is the busiest one. Coming up is Guangzhou, Shenzhen, Beijing, Hangzhou, and so on. So depending on your marketing strategy, and you have to choose the right entry point. And between Hong Kong, China, and Europe, actually there are freight rail connection, and the activity has been increasing quite substantially for the past few years. As you can see from the statistic on the right-hand side of your screen, the number of trains has reached 15,000 number of trains in 2021. And the number of container, it already reached 146 million TEUs. As Sean Paul have just mentioned, e-commerce is a very important business model in China. And in terms of last mile delivery, China has developed very rapidly and very successfully. And in the recent year, the cold chain, the last mile delivery also becoming very mature. So in the 2021, there are 100 billion packages being delivered by logistic company up to doorstep of your consumer or your target buyers. So this is about my company's formation. We have our Hong Kong office, China office, and some niche product divisions. So I'm not taking much of your time to introduce my company. So I rush through all this. So these are some specific commodities that we handle. This is the aircraft parts that we handle, and TAP Air Portugal is also one of our customers. We handle a lot of aircraft parts, ship spare parts, valuable, etc. And also we ship a lot of PPE and test kit for COVID-19. This is about China. Okay, so this is my contact in case if you need. I think you can always contact AEP or the market access to get my contact. And I thank you again for AEP and market access to invite me to share a little bit about logistics in China and my company. So I hand over the time back to the host.
Thank you so much, Mr. Lang. It was a pleasure to have you. And of course, we will use your contacts and we will share your presentation with the rest of the participants. That it was very, very interesting and useful for our Portuguese companies. So thank you so much once again. I'm sure we will have a few questions at the end, so I will invite you to stay until the end for us to talk a little bit more about this.
Sure.
I would like to pass the word now to Mr. Simon Tanda from Informa Markets that will give us some insights on one of the biggest trade fairs in China, Food and Hospitality South China. Hello, Mr. Simon Tanda, and
Hello.
welcome.
Yeah. Thank you, IAP and Market Access for organizing this. This is very useful even for us that we organize trade shows in China. I just quickly introduce myself. I'm Simone Tanda. I work for Informa Markets, and we are the largest trade shows organizer in the world. We organize over 500 trade shows, and specifically, my team looks after the organization of trade shows in Asia. We have around 30 trade shows in Asia at the moment. And in terms of food and hospitality, we organize 2 trade shows in China, one in Shanghai called FHC. And we're going to launch a new show in South China in Guangzhou. I think I've shared my slides in the back office, if it's possible, or I don't know if you're seeing my slides at the moment. Okay, there you go. Thank you. Yes, so as I mentioned, we do 2 trade shows in China. FHC in Shanghai was the first one. We launched it in 1987. So we did over 20 editions of that show. And we have over 3,000 exhibitors and over 100,000 visitors at that show. And Shanghai is considered a kind of like business city in China, and that's why we started there. But of course, now there are other areas of China where it's very important to go to, because they are developing and the economy is growing. And like Jean-Paul and Ronnie mentioned before, of course, Hong Kong was one of the doors to China, and there's still a lot of business, and it's still one of the entrance to China. But now you can go to China directly. So we have decided to launch another show, basically to bring the knowledge, the expertise that we have created in all these years in Shanghai, to bring it to Guangzhou. So we're gonna launch Food and Hotel South China, which will be in May 2023. We're supposed to do it this year. We'll launch it this year actually, but due to the current situation in China, we have decided to postpone it to next year. And we will do it every year. It will be as it is FHC in Shanghai. It's a very international show. So we will have international companies attending there, but also the local companies, the local importers and distributors will mainly be importers and distributors of international products. We will co-locate it with big brands of trade shows that are already happening in China, like Hotel X, China Bakery, franchising Guangzhou. Hotel X is actually in Shanghai. It's actually our largest trade show at the moment, with over 300,000 visitors. So we just want to use basically all the contacts that we have and all the expertise that we have in other areas of China to go to South China and allow international companies to get opportunities there and to meet the right buyers. We're planning to have over 60,000 square meters of exhibiting space, and have 2,000 exhibitors there, and over 75,000 professional visitors, I should say. And the show will be held at the Polyworld Trade Center in Guangzhou. So why Guangzhou? Because like Ronnie was saying before, there are different cities in China, different areas, and I was very pleased to. It's one of the points that I also put on my slide, but I'm very pleased to had the confirmation also from Ronnie that the imports of international foods in China are growing, and Guangzhou is actually the 3rd largest city in China after Beijing and Shanghai. Is the capital of the Guangdong province, and it's a very dynamic market. It's very international, so there are a lot of expats there. So there's a lot of appetite, a lot of interest from international foods and international products. And also, it's a mega port. It's a large port, so most of the food and beverage products will go through the port in Guangzhou. And it's also one of the for the Guangdong for South China is also the city where most of the international trade office are based. So that's also helpful for international companies that are approaching the specific area in China to also have the support of their own trade offices, and their expertise. And as I said, there's an economic development in Guangzhou. Is a very dynamic area of China. And there's a very important economic growth. There are various articles that are saying that South China will overtake North China in terms of economy quite soon. So it's definitely a place where we wanted to be. We actually were planning to do this show in 2021, but then of course we all know what happened. So we already had plans to go to South China, and hopefully next year we'll all be able to be there and contact all the buyers there. It's like I mentioned, we also work with because we already have our trade shows. We already have our offices in China. We have a very strong cooperation with some of the local associations as well. So we work with the Chefs Association, with Bakery Association, and this allows us to also bring to the trade show, to this platform, the right buyers as well, because those associations will have the best contacts, of course, but also the best knowledge. And we're always happy to facilitate the connection with those buyers and those associations. And we always we ask them every time if they are looking for specific products, what kind of products, what are the new trends. So we also then can identify and can suggest them the right exhibitors, the right suppliers for them. So it's both ways, both from your point of view to meet them, and also for their point of view to actually find the right suppliers for them. As you can see, hopefully you can see, it's quite small maybe. We at the show, we welcome different kind of products, from coffee to tea, to water, to dairy, to meat. So it's we cover basically all the food and beverage spectrum. In terms of the buyers and the visitors that will come, I would say we have basically a 30% retailers, 30% importers and distributors, and 30%, I should have said 33, Horeca and catering. I'm saying this because, as I mentioned at the beginning, we do have importers and distributors of international food and beverage that actually participate to the show. We had a last edition of FHC in Shanghai. We had over 300 of them. And we also usually share a list of those importers and distributors on site when you will be at the show, so that you can identify them. They will usually divide them by sector, and we put the stand number, so you can go and see them, you can go and talk to them, introduce yourself. So you also will have the opportunity to meet these importers and distributors directly at the show. So they just won't be walking and coming to your stand, but you can also go and see them to their stand. And I also wanted to share some tips, in approaching China. Of course, Jean-Paul was very specific, and he gave us a lot of good information. Just in general, and because I've been asked also yesterday how to be at a stand at a trade show, how to behave. I think most importantly, it's to prepare for the show, to do your homework before you go to a trade show, and then once you're there, go and see the supermarkets, go and see also the other stands, and compare the products, see the services, see the packaging, try and get all the information and as much knowledge as you can from direct experience. And also it's very important, like Jean-Paul was suggesting, that you announce your presence in some way that you can be distinctive from other producers, because trade shows in China are usually very big. So all the buyers that will go, they will see a lot of products in 1 day or 2 days. So it's important that you will introduce yourself, and you will introduce your products in the right way, so that they can feel that you are different, that they should be doing business with you. Relationship is 1G in Chinese, and they of course appreciate to have face-to-face contact. It's been very difficult in the past 2 years, but also they like to know you in person, and it takes a bit to trust, to build that trust. So invest in China, don't give up. It takes time, but it's a market with huge opportunities, and it's and like Ronnie and Jean-Paul were saying, the opportunities are growing and the economy is growing. And the last thing I wanted to kind of give as an advice is, and Jean-Paul mentioned it before, it's very common for someone to ask you your WeChat. So before you go to China, download WeChat, and also if it's always a good tip to have your business card in English and in Chinese. It's a kind of show of respect for their culture. I think that's it for my side. Of course, if you have any question, I'll be happy to answer. Obrigado. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Simontando. It was a pleasure to have you here once again. I'm sure you will have a few questions also at the end, but now I will pass the word to our Portuguese speakers. Tenho aqui comigo no auditório da AEP a Teresa Oliveira, por parte da Quinta da Aveleda, que nos vai falar um bocadinho da sua experiência na China, no mercado chinês, e de seguida passaremos a palavra também a Stephanie Silva, da Outeirinho, mais à frente, que se juntará a nós online. Teresa, ontem estivemos aqui com o Nuno Barros, que nos falou um pouco sobre a sua experiência tanto na Coreia do Sul como no Japão. Hoje temos aqui um mercado diferente, também de maiores dimensões. Poderia falar-nos um bocadinho da vossa experiência neste mercado?
Sim, em primeiro lugar, bom dia a todos. É um gosto de estar aqui em representação da Aveleda, neste caso. Como disse o meu colega Nuno ontem, esteve aqui a falar um bocadinho daquilo que são os mercados da Coreia do Sul e do Japão. A Aveleda, em jeito introdutório, é uma empresa com mais de 150 anos que tem vindo a percorrer um caminho de internacionalização. Hoje em dia, e principalmente com a marca Casal Garcia, diria que também é uma das flagships da empresa, já exportam para mais de 80 países, portanto estamos a falar aqui de um panorama internacional bastante diversificado e, portanto, há aqui alguma também margem de manobra para conseguir adaptar estes mercados, digamos, mais afastados de nós todos e mais também complexos a nível culturais, mas que se distanciam, acabam por se distanciar um bocadinho naturalmente daquilo que é o contexto europeu. Falando concretamente do mercado chinês, inicialmente O mercado chinês não era um mercado estratégico para a Aveleda, portanto foi um caminho que foi percorrido mais recentemente, diria, talvez nos últimos 6 anos, com mais seriedade e com mais assertividade. É um mercado que eu acho que é importante notar que se tem de ter um cuidado especial no sentido de longevidade, em trabalhar o mercado lentamente. É um mercado muito difícil de penetrar, por assim dizer, em termos culturais e de ideais e de aproximação àquilo que é os importadores locais. Inicialmente, a estratégia delineada passou por tentar arranjar um representante, alguém português que fosse, por exemplo, tirar cursos de mandarim e que a representação da Aveleda fosse uma coisa extra no seu dia-a-dia e começar por aí. Essa estratégia acabou por não funcionar, simplesmente não veio a concretizar-se.
Ok.
Na altura, depois a companhia decidiu alocar uma pessoa durante 2 anos que fosse com alguma regularidade ao mercado. Isto porquê? E há uma curiosidade em relação ao mercado chinês, que é os primeiros 3 anos eles muitas vezes é para criar laços de amizade e não entram em negócio. Portanto, esta questão de conhecer a pessoa, ver a pessoa, e portanto a estratégia passou muito por ir ao mercado presencialmente, participar em feiras chinesas, em feiras da Vini Portugal, que é um bom ponto de partida também para empresas portuguesas, porque cria aquela do país, aquela organização do país em si, enquanto presença nas feiras, e portanto passou muito por ver e ser visto, e criar um bocadinho essa ligação ao mercado em si, sendo que o mercado tem uma dificuldade em termos dos vinhos, mais especificamente falando, que é o vinho português hoje em dia ainda é visto como o maior consumo de vinho a granel, a maior compra, portanto vinho que tem um preço mais baixo e que não tanto qualitativo. Portanto, isso foi um trabalho que depois também foi feito, a importância de visitar cantões, de perceber a filosofia do mercado, mas sempre assente de que é importante ter um importador de comércio internacional, não alguém que só esteja habituado a ligar com produtos chineses, porque essa visão global dos produtos e de interesse é crucial. E claro que depois também temos algumas dificuldades, como a barreira linguística, como o facto do vinho, por exemplo, ser um consumo social. E quando eu digo social, é muitas vezes em restauração, e que pretende demonstrar que se está a beber um vinho internacional. Portanto, e os chineses são pessoas muito formais, muito sérias, e essa importância de demonstração também, que é uma pessoa com conhecimento e que gosta de provas internacionais, é feita no âmbito social. Depois, ultimamente, e mais nos últimos 5 anos, a Aveleda já trabalha a marca Aveleda a nível nacional, na China, e Casal Garcia apenas com uma referência e com clientes especificamente também. A marca Aveleda tem aqui uma grande vantagem. Como o consumo de vinhos na China, como estava a dizer, é maioritariamente feito em restauração e no âmbito social, eles procuram muitas vezes aquilo que chamamos de vinhos mais gastronómicos. Um vinho que não é tanto se compra em supermercado, que diria que comparativamente à restauração, que é mais ou menos 80-85% daquilo que é o consumo habitual de vinho do mercado chinês, 8% serão em supermercados, e desses 8%, 7% são em formato especial. E quando eu falo em formato especial, é uma coisa engraçada, que o mercado chinês, eles são muito oferta, gostam de oferecer presentes. E, portanto, quando falamos em formato especial, falamos caixas com uma garrafa, magnums, portanto, tudo aquilo que for diferenciador e que acaba por servir como presente, como oferta, e muitas vezes aos próprios colaboradores da empresa. Os nossos clientes compram vinho para oferecer a colaboradores e para vender a colaboradores. Portanto, essa união entre empresas e entre pessoas existe, e é um mercado que é uma realidade no mercado chinês. Tirando isso, é importante dizer que é um mercado também com potencial. Portanto, que apesar do consumo ser maioritariamente em restauração, maioritariamente dedicado ao âmbito social, cada vez mais nas cidades principais há wine clubs, há garrafeiras, portanto há um incremento aqui da oferta também do vinho, e em geral e a nível mundial isto é uma tendência que também se tem vindo a verificar, o querer saber mais de vinho, e as gerações mais novas também terem esse interesse e apostarem em vinhos qualitativos, em termos daquela que nós falamos do price quality. Portanto, há potencial, simplesmente é um mercado que tem de ser trabalhado com uma perspectiva a longo prazo, porque é necessário criar essas ligações, é necessário criar relações, é necessário visitar o país e conhecer aquilo que é cultura,
A
a realidade e, acima de tudo, há aqui é um mercado que tem potencial e que as legislações têm vindo a alterar em relação ao vinho. Por exemplo, e falando das ofertas, o vinho high-end, portanto, quando vamos dizer vinhos muito premium, eram utilizados como subornos na China, a nível político, muitas vezes, porque valiam muito dinheiro. E hoje em dia há legislação específica para proibir isso. Portanto, houve uma diminuição, se calhar, daquilo que é o segmento mais premium e houve um aumento daquilo que é o mais entry medium level, exatamente, de restauração. E por isso, estas alterações, e olhando, por exemplo, um exemplo muito específico é o vinho australiano. O vinho australiano foi taxado há uns anos atrás, não sei especificamente fazer o pinpoint do momento, mas foi taxado ao ponto que deixou de ser o segundo maior mercado, o maior vinho importado, para ser dos menos relevantes. Portanto, há esta volatilidade na China, tenho certeza no mercado chinês, que a qualquer momento, e se calhar se o vinho português ou da importação de produtos portugueses se tornar tão relevante ao ponto de eles acharem que faz sentido taxar. E, portanto, há sempre que ter este cuidado, mas ter consciência que também é um mercado com muito potencial, muito interessante, e que há esse incremento de oferta e de aposta também naquilo, porque eles vêm cá e ficam fascinados com Portugal. Para pessoas que nunca viviam cá e nunca conheceram o país, eles realmente ficam fascinados e gostam de trabalhar connosco, e temos essa abertura da parte deles. Agora, requer muito trabalho de preparação, juntamente de associações oficiais como a AEP, como a Vini Portugal, como outras entidades que têm esse conhecimento local, e fazer o trabalho de casa, como nós dizemos, chamava preparar viagem, agendar reuniões e ir já com um parceiro, seja um tradutor, seja alguém local, para também fazer essa aproximação, porque eles precisam dessa segurança de relacionar e, portanto, mesmo que façam um negócio muito rápido, já tenham algum feedback da pessoa em si e da empresa com quem estão a trabalhar.
Muito bem, muito obrigada, Teresa, foi um prazer. Vou agora passar a palavra a Stephanie Silva, a diretora de exportação da Outeirinho, que nos vai falar também da sua experiência no mercado. Bom dia, Stephanie.
Bom dia, conseguem-me ouvir?
Sim, perfeitamente.
Ok. Bom dia a todos, obrigada. Obrigada pela participação de todos, foi muito interessante desde o início. Há sempre informação a recolher e, como estava a dizer a participante anterior, o mercado da China, acho que estamos sempre a aprender, há sempre coisas a fazer e isto temos de estar sempre presente. O percurso da Outeirinho tem mais ou menos 7 anos no mercado da China, começou em 2015, o grupo Outeirinho tem mais ou menos 20 anos, bem implementado no mercado português, com as suas marcas e também marca branca, principalmente. Alguma experiência no mercado da saudade, na Europa, e depois decidiu ir para fora da Europa e um dos mercados escolhidos foi a China. A primeira tentativa do grupo Outeirinho foi: vou sozinho e vou ver o que é que dá. E foram uma feira em Guangzhou e efetivamente muita gente, muita procura, mas não tínhamos o produto certo. Claramente não tínhamos o produto certo. Tínhamos, como acho que depois ficámos a dizer, que nós tínhamos o pãozinho com manteiga, tudo o que ele já tinha, e tínhamos que trazer outras coisas para o mercado chinês, trabalhando na qualidade. O nosso produto é água, por isso tínhamos que ser diferente, e então trabalhámos muito a nível de packaging. Nesse âmbito também decidimos também nos apoiar numa entidade, neste caso a Market Access, para nos fazer um estudo do mercado e também um acompanhamento connosco no mercado da China. Nós fizemos o mercado, preparámos o novo produto que queríamos mostrar ao mercado, e em 2016 voltámos ao mercado, e desta vez com outro tipo de produto e outro tipo de mensagem que tínhamos que passar sobre o nosso produto, que é água, que não é como o vinho. É mais difícil, se calhar, trazer-lhe qualidade, vantagens como o vinho, e por isso tivemos que criar mais expectativas e criámos um packaging completamente diferente, que podia criar vontade de ter, porque depois temos o problema da logística, dos pesos e o price e a competitividade que existe da água no mercado da China. O nosso trabalho nos últimos anos foi fazer missões dedicadas, sempre acompanhado com alguém de fora que fizesse acompanhamento lá, por causa da situação da língua. Nós, a partir daqui de Portugal, era muito complicado, e participar em várias feiras também para, já que estamos presentes, estamos a mostrar aos contactos que estamos para ficar, estamos presentes, temos capacidade também, que é uma coisa também que, no nosso caso, foi muito questionado, porque falamos de Portugal e eles até conhecem, depois olham para a dimensão do país e ficam na dúvida se nós temos capacidade para poder fornecer o país dele ou o cantão deles, mesmo assim, porque eles são sempre muitos milhões, e por isso nós também criamos, com o parceiro que temos lá, também visitas às nossas fábricas, dos potenciais parceiros que estavam interessados, para verem a nossa capacidade, a tecnologia que nós tínhamos efetivamente, para poder lhes dar confiança em acreditar no nosso produto. Foi um processo lento. Começámos com vários produtos, vários importadores em vários locais. Chegámos à conclusão que não era a melhor estratégia, tínhamos que nos centrar. E hoje em dia trabalhamos só com o importador numa zona mais específica, que é Ningbo, Xangai, com vontade hoje em dia de nos deslocar também para o sul da China, que achamos que é uma boa opção para nós desenvolver a nossa rede de distribuição. Hoje em dia nós trabalhamos principalmente na parte da Eureka. No caso do retail, nós perdemos um pouco o comboio, é algo que temos que trabalhar mais, porque é preciso haver mais investimento a nível de marketing, de comunicação, de apoio aos supermercados, e é uma coisa que nós temos que trabalhar mais com o nosso parceiro, que hoje em dia temos, mas é um mercado muito interessante pela capacidade de volume, e para nós, para a água, é muito importante volume, para ser mais competitivo, etc. E também a nível de relação, nós já conseguimos, com esse tempo que nós temos na China, já conseguimos desenvolver alguma comunicação, já sabemos como lidar com eles. O nosso parceiro também já é muito familiarizado com a nossa maneira de trabalhar, as nossas empresas, os produtos que nós temos, e por isso aqui já conseguimos, ao longo desse tempo todo, ter uma boa base com o nosso parceiro e começar a estar implementado. É um trabalho que ainda temos, muito trabalho ainda temos que fazer para conseguir ser uma das marcas reconhecidas, e um trabalho árduo, porque também temos o revés da medalha também quando somos novos, estamos a entrar, coisas novas, e que os chineses gostam, eles também gostam muito de copiar, e por isso temos tido também algumas surpresas e algum trabalho nesse sentido, tentar nos proteger da melhor maneira para dar e continuar a promover os nossos produtos como exclusivos e dar sempre novidade. Tentamos trabalhar muito as edições, que nós chamamos de edições especiais no mercado, principalmente do Ano Novo Chinês, com o packaging vermelho e o dourado, tentar promover junto do nosso parceiro e com os seus clientes, no caso das ofertas, etc. É um trabalho que nós fazemos com eles e insistimos para tentar fazer mais, para eles sentirem-se especiais e que é só para eles, que acho que eles gostam disso e desse relacionamento. Esses últimos 2 anos tem sido difícil, esse tipo de trabalho por causa da pandemia, e nós não podemos também estar lá, porque eles gostam muito dessa relação e aquilo que nós já criamos, mas esperamos que em breve isso se resolva e que uma pessoa consiga desenvolver, retomar esses contactos e poder retomar. A China para nós já foi um dos melhores mercados, baixou no ranking na nossa empresa por causa da situação do Covid, mas as nossas perspectivas nos próximos 2 anos é retomar o nível que nós tínhamos e crescer novamente, investir no marketing, no social media, que é, acho que neste momento, o nosso ponto fraco. Não temos investido tanto nisso, trabalhamos o WeChat, mas não trabalhamos como o nosso primeiro orador falou, e eu acho que isso é importante, e cada vez mais o online é importante. Nós começamos com uma loja online em 2020, está a crescer pouco a pouco, mas falta-nos claramente esse investimento de marketing que acho que faz toda a diferença, porque eles são muito interativos, muito mais do que nós, e poderá fazer a diferença no negócio. É um mercado muito intenso, temos de estar sempre em contacto, sempre presente, e não desistir. Estar lá, ser visto, participação em feiras. Eu conheço o Simone e a FHC efetivamente é uma grande feira, e ao longo do tempo começámos pequeninos com eles e antes da pandemia já conseguimos ter, e com a colaboração do nosso parceiro, um espaço já com 36 metros quadrados, onde foi possível ter os nossos produtos todos, ter a presença do nosso principal parceiro e também convidar os seus clientes a estarem lá e também fazer connection, e isso é muito importante. E era tudo feito na base de... Tínhamos um open space onde as pessoas podiam conversar e era muito amigos, beber água, no nosso caso, muito agradável, e permitiu solidificar relações e crescer em negócio. É fundamental para esse mercado da China. É uma coisa que nós, a equipa internacional aqui do Grupo Outeiro, sente saudades, efetivamente, ir para lá para poder voltarmos a fazer esses contactos e sentir que, efetivamente, eles ainda têm confiança em nós, que nós estamos cá e é para continuar e que é para fazer business, claramente. E é isso. Estou disponível para perguntas sobre qualquer que seja.
Muito obrigada, Stephanie. Foi um prazer ouvir-te. Vamos ter aqui algumas questões que iremos colocar de seguida. No entanto, vamos no momento, e por uma questão também de fuso horário, respeitando o fuso horário dos nossos oradores internacionais, avançar com algumas questões em primeiro com os nossos oradores. I will start asking a few questions to our international speakers right now. Mr. Jean-Paul Smith, we talk a lot about e-commerce, even with the Portuguese companies right now. I'm not sure if you're... Yes, yeah. Hello again. I would like to ask you if the importance of language, actually, even on e-commerce, is it major and extremely important to have your communication in Chinese, or is it possible to do some communication, let's say, in English as well?
Yeah, so as a foreign imported brand into the Chinese market, it's good to have English, let's say, in your communication, to show it in your page or your banner or your marketing communication. It shows that you're a foreign brand, but it's extremely important that the communication or the message you want to bring across, that you translate it to Chinese, and really don't do a direct translation from your brand slogan or your brand tagline to Chinese, because that is often misunderstood. So it's really important that your tagline is really thought out again and really customized to the Chinese market in a Chinese language.
Okay, thank you so much. It was very helpful, I'm sure, and for sure I understand, as you were saying, that very probably the fact that related to English, we are also able to explain ourselves as an international brand, and that might help as well. I will now ask a few questions as well to Mr. Lang. Mr. Lang, you told us a little bit about transport and logistics. You explained us something very interesting that we didn't saw, of course, in our session yesterday about Japan and South Korea, that was related to the trains in logistics as well. Should I say that this is taken an important part, but still everything that is related to sea shipment is still the major common transport use for this kind of exportations from Europe to China?
Yes, sea freight is still the most important transportation mode for bulky items. But if we all recall, during the worst time of COVID-19, when the maritime and also aviation schedule has been badly obstructed, train freight was becoming one of the compensation to transport the goods, no matter it's from China to Europe or from Europe to China. So yes, it is becoming a popular way for the logistics sector. However, the connection into Europe has yet to be into Portugal. I think the nearest point is now up to Madrid of Spain.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Long. It was very helpful indeed. I'm sure that we are still, even in Europe, developing our capacity in trade solutions for reaching countries such as China. As we now know, we face right now as well some difficulties that are giving us some more obstacles to deal with that, for sure. I will now pass the word to Mr. Simon Tanda. Mr. Simon Tanda, yesterday we talked, of course, on the ideas regarding Japan and South Korea as well. I would like to ask you a question more related to how to be in a trade fair in China. Do you think it is a good way to start to be as a group in a trade show like this? Of course, being, for instance, with an association such as AP, and give some participation as a group to create also some awareness in the market as the brand Portugal, as also Mr. John Paul Smith told us about, the difference between the category brand and also the brand awareness, of course. I imagine that being at a trade fair like this as the mode of Portugal product could help as well when we are starting our internationalization to China.
Yes, yeah, definitely. And as John Paul said, it's very important to share your products first and then build your brand on it. So that's also related on how you participate at the trade show. Being part of a national pavilions, we mainly work with national pavilions at our shows in China. So you will have pavilions from Italy, Spain, US, Canada, etc. So being in a national pavilion with IP, for example, in a Portugal pavilion, it definitely helps. It gives you more visibility. It attracts the buyers as well, because a lot of times Chinese know about a country, and because they read of it, they watch movies, they know about the country, so they will come to the country first before the products. So I think that will be very helpful. And then once you establish, you grow in the market, you have a partner there, then you can think of like Outerino, for example. And hi, Stephanie, it's been a long time. Outerino, for example, then they did the show themselves. So, but definitely, if you are approaching the market or you are reconnecting with the market after these years, I would recommend definitely to be part of a national pavilion. One thing also that I would say is a suggestion is to have also a translator or an hostess with you that can speak English and Chinese, because not all the buyers will speak English. So also to kind of announce your opportunities, I would also suggest to have a translator as well, an interpreter.
Thank you so much, Mr. Simon Tanda. It was a pleasure, and thank for the note regarding the translation service. For sure, it goes along with the information that was shared also for the Portuguese companies. So I'm sure that we need to take that into account. Thank you so much. Vou agora passar a palavra aqui com uma pequena questão à Stephanie Silva, da Outeirinho. Stephanie, tivemos aqui há pouco Teresa Oliveira, que nos deu a indicação de que a questão do packaging, não apenas no seu design, mas também nas suas dimensões, teve que ser pensada aqui quando pensamos na abordagem ao retalho na China. Isso também foi uma preocupação junto da Outeirinho. Sei que as necessidades chinesas e da população chinesa são diferentes das necessidades em Portugal. Foi apenas uma questão de design e estética que tiveram que pensar na vossa abordagem, ou também de dimensões de garrafas, por exemplo?
No caso da Outeirinho, houve uma preocupação de design no geral, para ser mais atrativo. É claro que a China puxou-nos a isso, e claro que os outros mercados também beneficiaram relativamente a isso, mas foi um mote também muito importante. Depois a China, o que fez dentro da gama que nós tínhamos criado, ou que é normal ver, levou-nos a criar um formato mais pequeno do que o normal. Hoje em dia nós temos tanto o meio litro como o 350, que são formatos muito próximos, e que no caso da China, o 350 foi um formato que prevaleceu sobre o meio litro. Por questões de distribuição que o nosso parceiro na altura precisava também para o canal Horeca, houve necessidade efetivamente de nos adaptar. O que verificámos é que essa necessidade que a China nos levou a desenvolver beneficiou-nos também para outros mercados também, que nos permitiu também ser uma abertura o facto de ter esse formato. Mas eles efetivamente, um formato que nós não tínhamos de todo pensado, principalmente no plástico, teve que se criar para esse mercado, e hoje em dia vou dizer que 80% vendo esse formato do 350, e depois são garrafas de vidro e de litro, e o meio litro já ficou de fora, enquanto que eu tenho outros mercados que só me levam o meio litro e não tenho o 350. E depois a preocupação também de ter sempre uma edição no Ano Novo Chinês. Eu tenho que sempre ter uma garrafa vermelha, normalmente é de litro, depois com o meu rótulo normalmente desenvolvido em dourado, para eles terem como oferta para os clientes, aquela situação que falou a Teresa dos cabazes, eles fazem, também porque eles têm outros produtos e por isso eles oferecem. E também começámos a pôr também essa edição no Tmall, para poder ser uma oportunidade para as pessoas comprarem e terem em casa, efetivamente, aos clientes que já estão a repetir, já estão a começar a conhecer a nossa marca, ter também essa oportunidade nesse período de tempo, ter alguma coisa diferente, exclusiva. Espero ter respondido.
Muito obrigada, Stephanie. Foi sem dúvida interessante de vermos aqui as diferenças, e aqui falando também com a Teresa, a importância aqui de conhecermos o mercado e de estarmos em contacto com a realidade do mercado. Vimos aqui duas estratégias diferentes. Uma, a necessidade de um tamanho maior de garrafas, e aqui, por acaso, no caso da Outeirinho, o contrário, o que se explica também pela necessidade de produto, as necessidades de espaço também, imagino eu, que sejam muito, muito, muito restritas em locais como a China, neste caso. Teresa, aqui uma pequena questão também relativamente à vossa abordagem ao mercado. Utilizaram também um bocadinho a mesma estratégia que o Outeirinho, abordando apenas um certo cantão da China ou uma certa região, ou avançaram para uma exportação mais genérica como país?
Nós neste momento também, engraçadamente, também temos em Ningbo e Xangai, digamos que a base um bocadinho daquilo que é distribuição, mas como disse, a Aveleda já trabalha a nível nacional, a marca Aveleda. Mas em relação a Casal Garcia e também um bocadinho à semelhança do Outeirinho, estamos a começar no sul. Portanto, um caminho de começar no sul e percorrer mais para norte. Portanto, são ambas estratégias viáveis. Claro que esse é mais atrativo, e eu acho que mesmo para as empresas começarem em Xangai e Ningbo, porque são polos muito grandes e onde a probabilidade de internacionalização é maior, onde o conhecimento é maior e onde já existe essa também demanda, esse incremento de procura por produto internacional, que em regiões mais remotas, que vale a pena também conhecer, porque existe sempre um potencial e para eles é importante esse conhecimento nacional e perceber o país, mas realmente eu acho que para começar, e acho que é natural, sempre que começamos no país, começar na capital, vamos dizer, e começar num polo económico grande. Mas lá está, acho que é sempre importante depois considerar que é possível realmente expandir e a marca Aveledo já está a nível nacional na China e ir trabalhando, depois acrescentando o portfólio e modificando para ajustar também às necessidades do mercado, que são sempre alteradas e mesmo com gerações diferentes vão alterar.
Claro. Muito bem, muito obrigada, Teresa.
Muito obrigada.
Muito obrigada a todos. Encerramos por hoje as sessões dos 2 workshops relacionados com o agroalimentar relativamente aos mercados do Japão, Coreia do Sul e China. Acredito que poderemos afirmar que é necessário muita perseverança para conseguirmos exportar para estes mercados, mas como nós sabemos, todos os empresários portugueses têm essa qualidade, esperamos nós. Ficamos, claro, à vossa disposição para responder a quaisquer dúvidas que possam ter. Basta contactar-nos por e-mail ou pelas redes sociais. Gostaria também de deixar a informação de que dia 25 e 26 de maio teremos então os workshops relativos ao setor de infraestruturas e materiais de construção, também sobre estes mercados, e dia 29 e 30 de junho, então, relativamente ao setor casa. Mais uma vez, muito obrigada e bons negócios. Realizada em inglês, com a participação de 3 oradores internacionais que iremos apresentar. Mais à frente, contaremos com a experiência de 2 empresas portuguesas que terão o prazer de nos partilhar os seus testemunhos sobre os mercados-alvo. De seguida, encerraremos com uma sessão de perguntas e respostas. On behalf of AEP, I would like to thank our international speakers for participating in this event and for their availability. I would like to start by introducing Mr. Markham from Too Advanced. With 20 years of experience in overall marketing, Mr. Markham is the founder and digital marketing consulting of Too Advanced. He will give us some insights on communication in South Korea and the importance of e-commerce on this market. Thank you, Mr. Markham. You may proceed.
Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you. I'm Mark Kim. I'm currently running Too Advanced, one of the digital agents in Korea. And today I would like to present to you the South Korea market overview and also some key channels and what's different, and also the e-commerce, and just look into the F&B market and quick tip for how to approach the Korean market. Yeah. So, oops. Yes. So you can see my screen, right? Okay, let's go to the slide. About us, just quickly to do some introduction of our company. We are the Mark Kim, some founder and digital market consultant in Too Advanced. And recently, technology rapidly changed this world, but the people change slowly. So we are working at the background is global agency like a WPP and Omnicom Aegis global agency. Then we are independently working as the agency in South Korea. Our goal is a connected technology improvement. So we are based on digital marketing, but also to understand the B2B and the global marketing. Our full digital service is search and display and analytics. So search is organic and paid and B2B content marketing, but also we have the performance display campaign connected to the potential user audience, and also some deep database driven marketing, and also we are very excellent in the Google Analytics and also the Google Tag Manager and the Google Data Studio. Specialty, we have very strong in the organic performance. So we have we have optimized more than 100 websites, including Naver Webtoon and some of Samsung division and Hyundai And now recently we helping to the top newspapers is the Korean market with as a part of this partner of the Google. So let's see the South Korea, which is this screenshot is taken by the nearby our office. This is Gangnam Station with one of the hot place, and there is a lot of the OH is some advertised screenshot. The building is actually 3D tower, is helping to the Korean companies to the going to the overseas market, same as the AEP. Korea is actually the one of the funny thing is the Korea is actually the isolated land in my opinion, because the Korea is surrounded by the sea and also the North Korea is blocked to China. So actually, South Korea is connected as actually the continental, but which some of the physically we are isolated like the same as Japan. So population is a 50 million population, and language is one language Korean. But actually, most of people is can reading the English, but the speaking is depends on the slightly different. And not like other market, our neighbor is one of the strong search engine, local search engine, helping to connect the local market. Recently, one of the key trend is we are facing demographic cliff, same as Japan. We are since the 2020, we see that the demographic is slightly decreasing, and also the growth rate is also decreasing. So this is one of the issue in our government, and trying to solve this issue. But this is actually one of the biggest concern is the potential market. The other thing is the Korea market is especially in B2B, very strong in relationship business, not like other world. So usually we prefer to the management meeting instead of the online, and also depends on the relationship and your partner or your local vendor or your potential client. Without the relationship, this is hard to achieve some of the one of the success. But one of the interesting is since COVID is happening 2 years ago. Same as the other country, we see that there is a decreasing of the in-person or field sales team because most of the companies hesitated to meet the face-to-face meeting by the policy of the most of the companies. So sales demand is decreasing. But funny thing is the online contact or online support is increasing. So with the impact of the COVID, actually the B2B salesperson, the role of the B2B salesperson or the B2B market slightly changes in Korea also. The other thing is the same reason. So within the COVID, we see that there is a lot of the increasing of the online sales instead of offline. There is a strong of Korea is one of the strong in the offline retails and the biggest department store sort of thing. But we see that since the COVID, there is an increasing of the online sales instead of offline. So shifting to the online to offline. But this is nowadays. But we are facing the end of the COVID, so there is no masking outdoor nowadays. But it might be some returning of the sales to the offline. But it might be the need to the waiting to see how back to the market is the normal days. Yeah. This is one of the comparing to online to offline retail. So during the COVID, actually the Korean market is leading by the offline retails, but there is a huge decrease in not just large retail outlet, but also the small supermarket on some convenience store also that's decreasing. But the online retailers, we see there's a lot of increasing because especially food delivery service is increasing. And also the grocery delivery category, and also some key players are increasing during the COVID. So COVID is impacted not just the business, but also the sales of between the offline and online sales. Yeah. One of the as you know that Korea is also lots of the cycle pen. So there is an event in this upcoming December. There is fortunately, but not fortunately. Anyway, Portugal and Korea is the same team, same group. So we need to there will be something competing at the end of this year. So it might be one of some seasonality to have the intention to the Portugal. Many young people and many people they're interested in the Portugal. So might be that this year is help to the leverage of your presence in the Korean market with this World Cup. Yeah. Then moving to some digital channels. Korea is the neighbor. I don't know many of them heard about the neighbor. Neighbor is dominated the search engine as a portal, and neighbor is not just the search engine, but also helping to some e-commerce. So not like Google, neighbor is providing just the search engine and also e-commerce and also the newspaper sort of thing as a whole digital starting point of the neighbor in Korea. So traditionally, actually, the neighbor is dominated as 70% of the market share in search market. But recently, Google search is rising because of the mobile phone and Android and young people and Chrome browser. So we see that Google search portion is have the charge of some portion of the Google. So this is also the new opportunity for the global companies. And the trend is the neighbor search is becoming personal and better. This is also happening to the global market. So even neighbor is dominated 80% of the search market, but YouTube is rapidly increasing, especially since the COVID. Many elder people and young people is spending some online video. So YouTube is one of the key channels. So rising star is YouTube. And also thanks to the YouTube and the Google now its market share is rapidly increasing in Korean market. And Instagram also one of the favorite channel for not just the social, but also the searching for some hot place and also the celebrity and products and fashion and interior is Instagram is one of the leading channels. In the top social channel is in Korea, Instagram. Facebook is losing the portion of the market share, and even there are still older age group is using the Facebook, but we saw that overall the portion of the Facebook is overall decreasing, same as the other country. But Instagram is rapidly increasing, and Twitch is dominated by some young generation, especially women, and also the 20 and 30 age group is preferred by the Instagram. There is some small local social channel like Bandai, Kakao, but this is not a small portion of the social portion. And in case of TikTok, is not actually popular yet, but we need to look at some later because YouTube is very strong. So TikTok is trying to do increase the market share in Korea, but not yet in Korean market. KakaoTalk is one of the mobile messengers starting there, the Instagram or some Facebook, but then they are actually beyond the mobile messenger. They expanded the shopping. They also expanded in online banking. So not just Kakao starting this mobile messenger, but now it's covering shopping and banking and all of the things. So the messenger is also the leading by Kakao, and there is some other young ages using the Instagram or Facebook as a messenger, but most of the messenger, not just B2C and B2B, also using the KakaoTalk as one of the top messenger in the Korean market. COVID also changed some other point because the major theater is the closing during COVID and limited of the audience. So naturally, the online platform OTT platform is rapidly increasing Korean market. Especially Netflix is hugely expanded their market share, and also YouTube Premium. And there is some small player of the local player, but the market is still leading by the Netflix. But as you mentioned earlier, we are now facing the end of COVID, so many people is now back to the theater. So let's look at how things change it furthermore. Yeah. Then go to the e-commerce. Korea e-commerce market is keep growing up. Not just the COVID, but we also shifting to the offline to online. But COVID is actually make a trigger to the increase the market overall sales. So you can see that year by year the e-commerce market is rapidly increasing, and also when ad spending for the e-commerce increasing, but also there is a large increase in spending for some ad spending for the e-commerce, especially is the 2021 and 2022. The data is not yet updated yet, but actually there is jump to the spending for the online there. And also usually they are spending more is the display banner, but actually nowadays there is many people is engaging in video and YouTube. So video ad spending actually is rapidly increasing in Korean market. Naturally, that is not surprise them. Most of the ad spending is a mobile device. Top e-commerce players, there is many not like some USA. There's many different small and vertical e-commerce place in Korean market. Very hot, intensive market. The first one is the Naver e-commerce. Naver providing not just portal, but also they are happy provide the e-commerce function, and also the Coupang, one of the called as the Korea Amazon. Coupang is one of the leading player, and also the Gmarket. Gmarket is like eBay in Korea. So the top e-commerce channel is slightly different, but the Naver is anyway leading the market share. Naver is not direct provider, but they are helping to some of the store. But Naver is the dominated market, but Coupang is the competing with the rival with the Naver and Coupang. Then also the Gmarket, Bmart, and 11th Street and SE.com sort of particular players. But anyway, so the e-market also the e-commerce is a rapid increase in Korean market. The top category consumed by the e-commerce, we can see that there is first one is food. Food and beverages. There is a beverages here, but anyway, with the corona, many people is hesitate to go into outdoor activity. So food is naturally highly increased the e-commerce. There are also some commodity clothes, but the beverage and water also one of the hot items in the consumed by the e-commerce. This is just comparing the offline and online by category, which there is markup is the food and beverage, which is not just the consuming in the offline, but also some consumers online. So there is not much different to whether they are online or offline. But anyway, the one of the biggest market is the food and beverage naturally. Yeah. So let's go slightly deeper more to the F&B market. F&B market also the increasing during the COVID, but also the year by years, there is lots of the total sales in retail is increasing, and same as the total e-commerce market, the food and the beverage, the ad spending also the increasing, which is good signal for some overall market. One of the interesting is how they engage the F&B channel during the digital activities. YouTube is first one. There are most of the audience is pick up the YouTube as when they engage with some new product for the food or beverage, they're engaged in the YouTube, then social media, then portal. So like I said, COVID is a change of the top priority for the social channel, but they usually spend for the portal like a Naver or Kakao, but now shifting to the YouTube because they are more consuming their extra right for the YouTube and video clips. Yeah. One of some interesting part is with the COVID, there is a rising of the non-alcoholic drinking, the retailers. So there is a less of the increasing of the year by year convenience store because because of COVID, people is still hard to check. There is some restrict of the timeline, and they are just enjoy their by himself or herself spending at home and the low non-alcoholic cocktail or non-alcoholic drink in home. The other thing is there's some low prohibited. And same as the other country, as I believe the same as other countries, the Korean law is prohibiting to the online sales of alcohol. So they kept promoting this like this is one of the paid search. I just searching the wine, and this is you can run the paid search or some paid display campaign, but then you can sell directly to online. But some smart player is connecting the online store and the offline store. This is one of the examples. Like one of the player in the e-commerce, they are selling it online, but then delivery to the nearby the convenience store. So actually they cannot sell directly, but then the consumer is pick up to the nearby their convenience store. So actually there is avoid the law. This is one of the smart approach. So the conclusion is that you cannot sell direct sale to the online to the wine or the whiskey or some sort of thing, but you can sell to if they can verify the offline store. So the consumer is order by the online, then they can pick up the offline store nearby the connected online store. So offline, this is one of the trend in Korean market, connecting the offline to online to increase more sales. Yeah. Korea is also one of the very fast changing and trendy market. So I just saw that I met one of the clients yesterday. So I saw that there is a solution is one of the like some sort of in global market. They're selling to the wine in a can. Very interesting. So because of the same as the non-alcohol is the rising star. So actually they are digging to some new market. So they are selling the wine in can. So I don't know how much selling, but actually the new trend always appeal to the new customers. So other thing is the eco-friendly. This is one worldwide the trend. So there all the ways there's a labeling of all of different. This is one of some issues. So nowadays the government push to the eco-friendly package for the water. This is also the new trend for the beverage market. This is just quickly just check which wine is the searching by the Korea audience. So this is a trend of past 5 years. So this is blue line is looking for the Chile. Chile is actually one of the top market in the Korea searching by them. Then second one, the French wine is also the next to the followed by the Chile. Then we can see some Italy. Italy also the third in the Korean market. Then US and Portugal is the similar level of the grape. But I mean, you can see that there is a peak in this 2 years ago, 2020 January. There you can see some peak of the Portugal wine. So currently, the Portugal wine is not higher some awareness in the Korea audience, but there is a room in the growth in potentially is Korea market. So I hope that there is the new opportunity in Portugal wine also. This is by looking for by the gender. So when we check who looking for the Portugal wine, actually in case of Chile and USA and Italy, the gender male and female, the portion of male and female are almost close, half and half. But in case of the French and the Portugal, the French is the 55% is looking for by the woman, female, and also Portugal is same as this. So it means that actually the female is more looking. Males is looking for some whiskey, more heavy users, but actually female is looking for the wine. So actually, if we considering the promoted or the target audience, so we recommend looking for the woman rather than men. Yeah. And also there are some interesting parties. So when we divide by the age group, such demands, so we see that the older group is over than 40 or 50, we see that there is strong of the Chile. There is the group is very favored by the older group, but we're looking for the younger generation, relatively younger generation, like 20, 29 and 30 and 39. You see the proper wine is the higher preferred by some young generation. So this is the new market trend. So elder group is actually they're already familiar with the Chile wine, but you see that the rising star actually the interest in the new wine. So this is quite fast the change of the market. So this is new trend of the wine market. Yeah. The final section was how to build the presence in Korea market. Simply, I would like to talk to you. This is example of the neighbor. We're searching just a Portugal wine in the neighbor search results. So left is a paid search listing and right is organic search. Usually we call the neighbor blog. So paid search is just click to click, you can spend money. But the organic search is letting keep the more in long-term investment. So one of if you're looking for the Korean market is medium long-term, we recommend opening the neighbor blog as your local site. When I check some audience, the online seminars participant, they only provided some English version or Portugal version of the website, which is some barrier or change it to connect to your audience or your potential vendor or distributor. So recommended the localizing using the neighbor blog platform as the Korean market audience, which is helping to the medium long term to the presence in local market. Neighbor blog always place the center of the SRP. Neighbor is their listing of some search result based on search volume and a search keyword. So, but the view which is the neighbor blog section is always the center of the neighbor search result pages. This is somewhat of the user engagement. So someone is looking for Portugal wine or Portugal wine manufacturer or export searching, that they engage paid search also, but also the neighbor blog website to the connecting. The channel strategy. So if you the building to some other languages website takes time, but I recommended the leverage your the label blog channel, which is more easier, the quick and easily happy to. So like the pilot project, you can launch into the neighbor blog as your channel. One of the channel is the Korean market. The look into the how is the increase in the presence and what. Is there any the reads from the neighbor blog? Then you can might be the expand your website as adding to some Korean language website in your podcast and also the English project. This is one of the UK site, B2B client. We're starting the 5 years. So this green graph is the B2B blog visit, and this is the orange graph is the site visit, and the red line is the inquiry through the Korean market. So COVID also this is COVID also impact to B2B. So you can pick up some during the COVID. There's lots of inquiries. So online is always the key presence for the finding the new opportunity in the other market. So helping to this section is to better understanding Korean market. That's it. If you have any questions, I will to answer to anyway to be free to the.
Thank you, Mr. Kam. It was such a pleasure to hear you, and I'm sure it was very helpful here for the audience. I must say that I believe we had a small difficulty because we could not see your presentation, your slides while you were sharing. What we would probably ask you at the end, if it's okay for us to share the presentation with the audience after the workshop. Since we have it, you have sent us the presentation. But thank you a lot for this. We will save the questions for the end of the workshop, if that's okay for you. And I thank you once again.
Okay. Sorry about that. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. We will now pass the word to Mr. Takeshi Tsumaraki from Yusen Logistics. He is a seasoned global chain and logistics practitioner with more than 30 years of experience in food logistics and cold chain logistics, including assignments with responsibilities for logistics and customer clearance of European foods from Europe to Japan, such as importing food products for trade shows and exhibitions in Japan. Thank you, and good morning, Mr. Takeshi Tsumaraki. Mr. Tsumaraki, I think we have a problem. I think you are on mute.
Sure, thank you very much.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Can you please upload my presentation slide by yourself? Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. Can you see the slide?
It's perfect. We can see it. Thank you. Yes, we do. We do it.
Obrigado. Thank you for giving us good opportunity today. My name is Tsurumaki from Yusen Logistics Tokyo, Japan. I would like to explain Japanese food market for you in general. First of all, there is a small topic about long relationships between Portugal and Japan. For example, we have some food in Japan that was originally came from Portugal in samurai era. That is about 200 years ago and maybe more. Please see these pictures. These food are very, very popular in Japan, and the name is still Portuguese even now, like pan, croquette, castelo, and conferto. Please allow me to introduce Yusen Logistics in brief. Our company belongs to NYK Line, the largest shipping company in Japan that belongs to Mitsubishi Group. We are engaged in international logistics and supply chain solution service for almost 70 years. We have office in 47 countries and regions now, and we are providing logistics and supply chain solution service to our customers all over the world. We have dedicated service for major industries like automotive, healthcare, retails, aerospace, technology, and food. Also, we sell ocean, air, and land transportation service together with warehousing service. I'm pleased to introduce you our agent in Portugal, ETA Logística in Lisbon. Miss Anne Gracia Fernandez will take care your requirement nicely. Next, please allow me to tell you about public contribution of Yusen Logistics. We are not just selling logistics service to our customers, but we are voluntarily contributing for public. Firstly, cold chain logistic infrastructure development in Southeast Asian countries. We are working with Ministry of Land, Transport and Tourism of Japan. We are also acting as a committee member of ISO TC 315 regarding B2B cold chain logistic international standard. Secondly, we are committee member of Japanese Food Export Promotion Board organized by Ministry of Agriculture, Fishery and Forestry. Next week, by the order of Japanese government, Yusen Logistics will send humanitarian relief supplies to Poland for the people evacuated from Ukraine by charter flight. Next, here is today's main topic for you: the outlook of Japanese food market. First, Japan is the world number 5 food importing country. Japan is importing food much more than England, France, and Italy. Secondly, the population of Japan is about 120 million. This population is the same as total of France plus Italy. So Japan is a very large importing food market for everyone. Thirdly, what kind of food Japan import now? We have dairy products like butter, cheese, confectionery, frozen vegetables, meat, alcoholic drinks like wine, Scotch whiskey, and bourbon whiskey, and other liquors, fruit, coffee, salmon, olive oil, and etc. Lastly, from which country Japan import food? The biggest one we import from USA, and then Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Brazil, Chile, and Thailand. From European countries, the most is from France, followed by Netherlands, Italy, and Belgium. What Japan import from Portuguese now? Olive oil, canned fishery product, wine, frozen vegetable, salt, and pasta sauces. Here is outlook Portugal to Japan trade. As I mentioned, Portuguese food sold in Japan is canned fish, wine, olive oil, frozen vegetable, salt, honey, pasta, and pasta sauces. And here in Tokyo and Osaka, big cities, we have lots of Portuguese restaurants, and it's really difficult to make a booking in the weekend. And also, we often have exhibitions, and many Portuguese food importer exhibit their product in the exhibition. Since COVID-19 is going to be ending soon, I hope such exhibition is come back again. This is for your information. Who is your competitor in Japan against Portuguese product? For example, wine, your competitor would be Chile. Japan import most from Chile. Next, France, USA, Australia, Spain, and Italy. And what about olive oil? Your competitor is Italy, Spain. And canned goods, France and Norway. Now, let me touch upon import procedures in Japan. If you would like to seek for a new market in Japan, it is very important for you to know import particularity in Japan. Basically, between European Union and Japan, we have EPA and Free Trade Agreement. So import duties are mostly exempted or deducted for food imported from Portugal. Import regulation depends on items, so you are requested to check one by one beforehand. Yusen Logistic will help you in such complex procedures, so please feel free to talk to our agent in Lisbon. Also, you need to learn what is the tradition and taste of Japanese people, as well as lifestyle. Basically, including myself, Japanese people like any kinds of food from any place of the world. Next, let me touch upon about international transportation service from Portugal to Japan. First, sea route. Several major shipping companies have container liner service from Lisbon port to Japan port like Tokyo, Yokohama, and Kobe. Shipping companies like ONE, this is our sister company, and the Maersk Line, CMA CGM, Evergreen, Hapag-Lloyd, and other carriers have such service. It takes you about shortest 33 days from Lisbon to Tokyo and longest 57 days. This difference all depends on transshipment port and the routing of the vessel. Here is an indication for you about ocean freight at this moment. US dollar 2,000 for dry container and US dollar 5,000 for reefer containers, both 20 feet and 40 feet. And there is no consolidation service for refrigerated cargo at this moment. As for air route, now unfortunately there is no direct service from Portugal to Japan. Air cargo service is via European airport to Japan or sometimes via Middle East countries. Lastly, let me explain you about temperature-controlled transportation. If you send the food by sea in chilled or frozen condition, please use reefer container. Here's a picture. There are 20 feet size and 40 feet size. You can load about 45 cubic meter or 15 ton in this 40 feet reefer containers. Between Europe and Japan trade, 40 feet high cube reefer container is more popular at this moment. Also, if you send by air, there are some packings for chilled and frozen food. Here's the pictures. Freshness and the temperatures are nicely maintained with such packings while about 2 days' journey to Japan. Obrigado. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tsurumaki. I'm sorry.
Thank you very much.
It was a pleasure to hear you and to have your feedback on such important matters. I'm sure that we might have some questions at the end that we might ask you. I will now pass the word to Mr. Simon Tanda from Informal Markets. Okay, he will speak with us. Hello. He will speak with us about an important trade fair in South Korea, Seoul Food and Hotel.
Yeah, thank you very much. Bom dia a todos. And thank you, Market Access and IAP, for organizing this. It's great to, start planning again after 2 very difficult and challenging years. And as Anna mentioned, I work for Informal Markets. We are the largest trade shows organizer in the world. We organize over 500 trade shows per year. Particularly my team works on the trade shows for the food and hospitality industry in Asia. I just want to give you an overview on our trade show, Seoul Food and Hotel, and what's going on in the market at the moment, and also in terms of trade shows. I have to say that things are looking very good at the moment. The markets are starting to reopening. You can travel to Korea from 1st of April. You can travel to most of Asia at the moment. China is the only country that is still very difficult to go to, which gives a lot of positivity in terms of what's happening there, because of course we can travel there, but also all the structure or the hospitality can receive tourism, can receive business people, and so they are also looking for new products, new refurbishment. And just to give you some information on SFH, our trade show in Seoul, we do it every year, and we actually do it in a month this year. And it's the largest international trade show for food and hospitality in Korea. It's a B2B show, so it's only for traders, and it's organized together with KOTRA, which is basically the Korean agency that promotes trades and investment in Korea. We work also with other local association and government bodies, and we hold the show at Kintax, which is like an hour from the city center. It's a very large venue with 10 halls. In 2019, which is the year I would like to refer to give you, a proper view of the show, we occupied 7 halls of the 10 available. And basically, what I also wanted to say is that the trade show is a development of the needs of the market. That's what we always try to do. We always try to follow what the market is telling us. And we started this cooperation when a trade show that was already organized by KOTRA called Seoul Food decided to enlarge their international side, so with more international companies. And this is, of course, because the market, like also Mark was saying before, is more interested in purchasing more international products. So we started this cooperation from 2007, and so we developed the show that now hosts most of the international countries like US, Canada, Italy, Spain, Germany. So they will all see a participation at the show. We also, of course, had IAP in the show before, so hopefully we can welcome you from next year again. And just Mark already talked about the Korean market. What I would like to highlight on the side of fact that Korea is a very large economy is also the free trade agreement that is in place between Korea and EU. This, of course, makes things a lot easier if you wish to export to Korea in terms of taxes and regulations. So this is also why we have a very good participation from European countries, and so of course you can take advantage of that. As you can see, I hope you can see, probably it's a bit small. At the show, we welcome all the different categories from food and hospitality, from meat to dairy to seafood, but we also have equipment as well, and machinery at the show. So, if you work in that side of the industry, you're definitely more than welcome to join FHA and SFH, and you will find the right platform for you. As I mentioned, I wanted to give you some facts and figures from the last edition that we held physically in 2019, just to give you an idea of what kind of platform you can find, in terms of size and how many exhibitors there are. As you can see, we have around 1,600 exhibitors in 2019, and we had over 50,000 visitors, and it was an increase from 2018. Now, of course, as I mentioned before, we couldn't do the show in 2020. As you can imagine, we did it in 2021, last year, during the level 4 of restrictions in Korea, which was one of the highest level of restrictions. But we managed anyway to do the show because it was considered as essential business. And we were able to work with those companies that had a local representative in market, so no one could travel to Seoul, but we managed anyway to organize the show with the local companies and those international companies that have already products in market, as well as some stuff in market. And of course, it was a smaller show last year because the travel restrictions and the restriction that I mentioned. But I have to say that this year we are going back to what 2019 was. We're very close to it, and we expect, of course, in 2023 to be back to those levels. That's why also I wanted to share you this data, these figures, because this is what we can definitely reach next year, now that the country is reopened. And of course, we also this year we are traveling to Korea. We'll be attending the show physically, and so this is of course a great opportunity and great news finally after 2 challenging years. Yeah, as you can see, I just wanted to highlight a couple of figures. As you can see, in terms of visitors, and as I mentioned, we always welcome professional visitors. They are mainly from Korea, so it's a very Korea-focused show. We have some international visitors, but in terms of platform, I would definitely recommend it if you are focusing on the Korean market, rather than expecting to see buyers also from other countries there. And also we of course we have some the main visitor profile is for food and beverage. As I mentioned, we have also other categories of hospitality, but F&B definitely is the main focus for our show. In terms of buyers that come at the show, we have, I would say, a very balanced presence of manufacturer and importers and distributors. This is what I think you should be aiming for in terms of business partners, because those are the companies that will facilitate and will look after also a lot of bureaucracy for you. So what we are trying to facilitate at our show is for you to get in touch with the right people, with the right buyers, and the right importers and distributors, so that you can plan your activities in Korea with their expertise, with their knowledge, and it would be an easier path and process for you. We welcome also these importers and distributor. They not only visit the show, but most often they also will have a stand at the show, so you can also go and see them, and so you can start a business relationship with them, and develop your business. So like I mentioned before, the next dates for Seoul Food and Hotel in 2023 will be between the 30th of May and the 2nd of June. So it's a 4-day show. As I mentioned, we are expecting to go back to the 2019 levels in terms of exhibitors and countries representatives and visitors. In terms of what we do and other things that we do to facilitate your connection with the buyers, are creating and working with local associations so that we can focus on specific featured areas that will highlight and will announce some of the sectors. We will have a food tech area, for example, a culinary challenge. So there will be a lot of chefs, lot of local chefs that are very important, because at the end of the day they will decide the menu of the restaurants. So it's also important to get in touch with them. There will be a coffee championship, and also we are developing a wine tasting area. In 2019 we were working with the Korean Wine Association, so we're planning to do the same for the future, and connect with also the right buyers, because they are very specific with the wine industry. Another thing that we do is we create a business matchmaking platform, where we basically ask you to give us the details of your products and your brands, and then we will share that with the buyers, and we ask the buyers if they will be interested in meeting you at the show. This is included in your participation, and we encourage the buyers basically to also be proactive towards your side, and we can act like as a middleman, basically, to introduce them to you. And also, in case buyers might have some specific questions, or we see that that specific products maybe are not receiving the same interest as others, we also have a consultant available that we can put you in touch with, and they can give you some advice on how to present your products, and which buyers you should get in touch with. So we want to create basically the right environment for you to make things as easier as possible, because we appreciate is on the other side of the world, and to facilitate for you a business development in the market. And in terms of from our experience, Mark before me talked about this more intensively, quite rightly, but just in terms of an experience from a trade show point of view, we are also seeing new products in terms of specifically more organic products. For example, it's definitely a new trend. Also alternative protein. In fact, we will have a dedicated area, a featured area to alternative protein this edition at our show. And in general, what we are seeing is that Koreans are very open to high quality products. They prefer to spend a little bit more, to invest a little bit more, but to have a high quality product. We are seeing this happening also, in terms of the buyer's request that we are receiving. And so, this hopefully will mirror also your products and what you would like to do in the market. And then the last thing I wanted to say, and I put it in the slide as plan, is and this is a great opportunity that IAP is giving, and to kind of do your homework before doing a trade show. What I mean is, don't only realize on that trade show to say, okay, I'll just go there, I'll try and see what happens. You need to do your homework before you go. You need to, of course, use other agencies, other people that have knowledge on the market. You also need to look for the buyers and maybe contact them and invite them to the show to visit you. And of course, once you are there as well, go and see some supermarkets, see what the international section look like, see the prices of the products similar to you. What I mean is, it's an investment in the market, which is a great market to be in, because it gives a lot of satisfaction. But you need to approach it in the right way, and you need to plan it for a few years. I would suggest at least 2-3 years to then see good results. So yeah, this is basically it. Thank you very much. And of course, I know later on if you have any question, please feel free to ask me. Thank you. Obrigado.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tanda, for your information. It was very useful. I'm sure you will have a few questions at the end of this workshop. I will now pass the word to our national speakers, if it's okay. Temos aqui connosco o Nuno Barros e Manuel Moreira, Nuno Barros da Quinta da Aveleda e Manuel Moreira da Ramírez, que nos vão falar um pouco mais sobre as suas experiências nos mercados. Manuel, acredito que já tem alguma experiência, então, em vários mercados internacionais, como sabemos, mas aqui falar um pouco mais sobre a sua experiência na Coreia do Sul. Pode conversar aqui um bocadinho connosco sobre o que é que tem sido a sua experiência?
Sim, bom dia a todos, obrigado pelo convite da AEP, por estar aqui presente. Nós já temos 169 anos de atividade, já operámos em quase 50 mercados a nível mundial. Os 3 mercados que são aqui focados hoje, a China, o Japão e a Coreia, operámos nos 3 mercados, embora o Japão com menor preponderância, por razões, enfim, que têm a ver com a concorrência, a dificuldade de entrar no mercado, um mercado muito fechado, muito conservador. A China já com alguma dimensão, sobretudo em Hong Kong, Macau, portanto, onde de facto conseguimos entrar e fazer negócios interessantes. Dos 3 mercados, a Coreia do Sul de facto é aquele mercado que me apraz falar um bocadinho mais. É um mercado que nós começámos a abordar em 2018. Em 2018 começámos então a perceber o mercado. O que é isto, perceber o mercado? Aceder a bibliotecas de informação, participar em workshops, em missões, portanto, recolher muita informação, perceber o que são as tendências de consumo, comportamentos de compra, hábitos alimentares da Coreia. É preciso perceber a cultura, é preciso perceber as pessoas, como é que elas se alimentam, de forma que se alimentam, quando é que compram, porque é que compram o produto A e o produto B, se o consomem de uma forma social ou mais a nível doméstico. É preciso compreender isto tudo. E depois compreendemos, no final desse estudo, percebemos uma coisa. De facto, as conservas de peixe, o carne de fish, como nossos parceiros falaram anteriormente, tinha uma conotação um bocadinho negativa, um bocadinho pet food, não é? Lá do sítio. Foi preciso, no fundo, desmistificar essa questão. Foi preciso explicar, afinal, o que é uma boa conserva de peixe, como é que essa conserva de peixe é produzida, a sua durabilidade, a sua portabilidade, a sua conveniência. E hoje em Portugal fazem-se conservas de grande qualidade. Nós temos conservas, enfim, que chamam de mainstream, que encontramos em qualquer supermercado, mas depois temos toda a linha delicatessen, e Portugal, de facto, diferencia-se isso de todos os outros fabricantes espalhados pelo mundo, nomeadamente espanhóis, nomeadamente Equador, nomeadamente Tailândia, etc. Portanto, de facto, tudo que é delicatessen, o fine food, em termos de conservas, Portugal, de facto, para mim é exímio, um bom fabricante de grande qualidade. Depois de fazer esta fase inicial de estudar no mercado, perceber as dificuldades que iríamos encontrar e também o nível de atratividade do mercado, percebemos que, de facto, tínhamos aqui um campo, um mercado que merecia a nossa atenção. E percebemos logo também do início que seria um desafio de médio e longo prazo, claramente. Aliás, é próprio dos mercados asiáticos. Temos que olhar para o mercado asiático e perceber que não é nem 1 e 2 anos que conseguimos entrar. O mercado de Vietnã demoramos 10 anos a entrar. Conseguimos entrar, hoje estamos a colher os benefícios disso, enfim, acho que estamos até a evoluir para um segundo estágio. A Coreia do Sul demorou muito menos, tivemos 3 anos sabáticos, digamos assim, de muita aprendizagem, aprender com os erros, ter a humildade de aprender com os erros, muita persistência, aprender com humildade e também selecionar muito bem o parceiro. A seleção de parceiro é fundamental para entrar no mercado deste. Sem um bom parceiro, neste caso uma importadora, eu diria que é uma missão impossível, na acessão da palavra. Feita portanto, a compreensão do mercado, a seleção de parceiro, depois houve aqui um período de discussão e aprofundamento. O parceiro também nos visitou, também nos compreendeu quem é Ramires, todo o nosso processo de fabrico, como é que é feita a conserva, a diferenciação das diferentes marcas, níveis de qualidade. Houve necessidade também de haver aqui alguma adaptação dos processos de fabrico, processos de rotulagem, processos de exportação, documentação, e algo que também nos deu imenso trabalho, que foi a parte da rotulagem. A rotulagem tem imensos requisitos na Coreia do Sul, portanto, os produtos que nós selecionamos tiveram que ser registrados previamente no Korean Food Administration, portanto, é um processo que demora cerca de 2 meses por cada referência. Há muita documentação que é preciso entregar, são muito exímios na análise que fazem, mas depois de estar a provar, enfim, tudo flui de uma forma consentânea. Feita esta adaptação de processos, rotulagem, logística, que é muito importante, a logística, o aspecto da logística é muito importante, não é a mesma coisa que enviar mercadoria para a Europa, como podem imaginar. Nós também tivemos que, de facto, fazer aqui, eu costumo chamar, na minha modesta forma de dizer, um processo de evangelização. Ou seja, o que é que eu quero dizer com isto? Aquilo que estava conectado com pet food, ok, isto não é pet food, isto é conserva de grande qualidade, é preciso dar a provar às pessoas. Então tivemos imensas sessões de food experience.
Educar o consumidor.
Educar o consumidor. Forma, fizemos focos grupos em que convidamos alguns chefes, convidamos diferentes públicos, diferentes idades, a provar, fizemos provas cegas, depois fez-se cruzamento também com alguns vinhos, não fomos nós que fizemos, mas foi o nosso importador que fez esse trabalho também, foi um trabalho interessante. Estamos a falar de um trabalho de quase 3 anos, portanto, isto não foi propriamente ir daqui a Lisboa, não é? Fizemos algumas receitas também com o nosso chefe Manuel Vieira, com quem temos uma colaboração aqui em Portugal. Preparámos pratos, elaboramos pratos muito adaptados também à culinária da Coreia, integrando também as próprias conservas que nós temos, desde a linha La Rose, Cocaine, Queen, Ramires, Berta, etc. Portanto, tivemos esse cuidado em preparar esses pratos e enviar as receitas com fichas nutricionais, com imagens. Depois esses pratos foram replicados na própria Coreia do Sul, foram executados, foram dados a provar. Depois o nosso importador foi convidado por uma televisão coreana a apresentar esses pratos, a falar sobre eles. Foi uma experiência muito interessante. Repare, toda esta comunicação, e comunicar é tornar algo em comum, é partilhar. Claro. Quem é Portugal, o que é que faz Portugal, o que é que a Nova Stella representa, enquanto parceiro da Ramires, todas essas experiências, o que é uma fine food, não é? Em termos de conserva, e também permitir-nos, ao longo deste tempo, perceber quais são as grandes tendências alimentares da Coreia do Sul, porque a Coreia do Sul, como sabem, tem uma pirâmide demográfica, tem uma franja bastante grande de população envelhecida, mas tem uma franja ainda substancial de população jovem, e o mercado é um mercado muito dinâmico. Este mercado hoje permite-nos dizer o seguinte: a entrada no mercado é muito lenta, demora muito tempo, mas depois de feito o ciclo de entrada, que no nosso caso foram 3 anos, o ciclo de crescimento é muito rápido. e a parte da maturidade. Quando analisamos esta curva, nós entramos agora na fase de crescimento e não tenho dúvida que nos próximos 2 anos vamos explodir no bom sentido da palavra, não é? As vendas vão aumentar enormemente. Aquilo que eu aconselho às pessoas, neste caso às empresas que pretendem abordar o mercado da Coreia do Sul, neste caso em concreto, mas se calhar todos em geral, mas no caso concreto da Coreia, é que tenham uma perspectiva, uma visão de médio e longo prazo. Se não tiverem essa cuidado, essa perspectiva de médio e longo prazo, é um tempo, enfim, é deitar, desperdiçar energias e recursos. Depois outra coisa que é adquirir conhecimento. Estes workshops e outros mais são workshops que nos dão ferramentas, que nos dão algum conhecimento, mas não nos ensinam o caminho das pedras. A própria empresa tem que aprender a aprender.
Experimentar, não é?
Experimentar, recolher esse conhecimento, ir ao terreno, perceber o mercado, sentir o mercado. Tem que ser bionívoca esta aprendizagem, portanto não somos só nós que temos esforço, o nosso parceiro tem que nos entender também, tornar aquilo um denominador comum, portanto aprender a aprender, e depois tem que haver muita adaptação, muita resiliência na abordagem ao mercado, e eu estou convencido que com estes itens todos, estes ingredientes todos, conseguimos chegar a bom porto. E é isso que nos permitiu agora, ao 4º ano de experiência, enfim, estarmos na fase do... Enfim, estamos a chegar
Scaling out.
É scaling out, exatamente.
Muito bem, Manuel. Muito obrigada pela sua partilha. Já vi aqui que o Nuno também já assinou aqui algumas das coisas partilhadas pelo Manuel. Partilha da mesma experiência, sei que também exportam para o mercado da Coreia do Sul, está aqui um pouco mais hoje para nos falar do mercado japonês. Sei que existem alguns desafios um pouco diferentes nesse mercado. Qual é a sua experiência relativamente aqui ao que foi falado já pelo Manuel?
Relativamente às palavras do Manuel e à descrição que ele fez sobre a Coreia do Sul, está fantástica. Não ouço sequer a acrescentar nada, porque realmente foi uma excelente descrição, e parabéns. E já agora bom dia a todos e obrigado pelo convite, peço desculpa. Mas sem dúvida que é exatamente isso que o Manuel falou da Coreia do Sul. Dizer só com um jeito de introdução que a Veleda já existe juridicamente desde 1870, ou seja, já fizemos 150 anos há 2 anos atrás, e felizmente temos vindo a incrementar a nossa presença no mundo, e hoje já estamos presentes em mais de 85 países no mundo. No caso particular do Japão, é um mercado que tem muita ligação a Portugal, não só com a gastronomia, com a tempura, que tem origens portuguesas, como eles têm uma afetividade a Portugal muito interessante. Eu gosto muito dos nossos azulejos, do nosso fado, eles têm uma abertura especial a Portugal. E isso permitiu-nos, já há mais de 20 anos, começar a trabalhar o mercado. Obviamente, há 20 anos para cá, muita coisa mudou. No início era um trabalho, e lá está, um bocadinho como o Manuel estava a dizer, nestes mercados é muito importante isso, é muito importante perceber a cultura, é muito importante perceber o que é que eles esperam de nós e o que é que nós podemos acrescentar valor, porque nós temos que ir falar com qualidade, um bocadinho como estava a falar, apresentar qualidade e apresentar os nossos melhores produtos. No caso particular do Japão, é um mercado muito desafiante, porque eles são muito... Como é que eu vou te explicar? Eles são muito restritos, ou seja, se a caixa é azul, não é azul turquesa ou azul escuro, ou azul marinho, é azul, e ponto final.
Muito objetivos, não é?
E nós costumamos dizer uma coisa que aprendemos no mercado, que é: quem trabalha bem no Japão trabalha bem no resto do mundo. Que é verdade, não havendo falhas para o Japão, não há falhas para mais lado nenhum. E foi um bocadinho isso, ou seja, nós inicialmente começamos a trabalhar com um importador que trabalha vários vinhos portugueses, que começou a trabalhar vários vinhos portugueses, e isso permitiu-nos criar um brand awareness, nomeadamente em Tóquio, que é a principal cidade do Japão, e permitiu-nos começar a ganhar alguma escala. Há uns anos para cá, há cerca de 7 anos, decidimos que chegou o momento de darmos o segundo passo, digamos assim, ou seja, encontrarmos um distribuidor maior em que nos garantisse uma distribuição nacional, e felizmente aí conseguimos. Devo dizer que sem a ajuda da ICEP e do José Fernandes na altura não teria sido possível. Infelizmente o José já se reformou, mas ele
Fica o testemunho, não é?
Mas sem dúvida nenhuma que ele foi um dos grandes impulsionadores e mais ajudou as empresas portuguesas a desenvolver o seu trabalho no Japão. Ele permitiu-nos abrir um grande distribuidor no Japão, uma referência no Japão, e hoje permite-nos chegar a todos os pontos de venda. Um bocadinho à imagem do que o Manuel estava a dizer também. Não é só vender e já está, não. É garantir. A Voeda também tem isso como princípio, por isso é que se distingue nos vinhos verdes e por isso é que tem um vinho verde mais vendido no mundo, que é pela qualidade, ou seja, nunca falhar na qualidade, e não é só na qualidade do vinho. Quando nós falamos em qualidade, não estamos só a falar do vinho, estamos a falar do vinho, da garrafa, do rótulo, da cápsula, da caixa, de tudo.
Respeito aos timings,
tudo mesmo. E só para terem noção, há pouco tempo lançamos uma nova referência no mercado, e por causa desta crise que estamos a passar e por exemplo, falta de garrafas, que no nosso setor está a acontecer, nós enviamos 2 paletes de avião porque o japonês tinha que cumprir a data que tinha dito ao mercado que ia lançar o produto. E isso é sagrado. Agora, da forma como vamos cumprir, isso vamos ter que arranjar alternativas, ou seja...
Criatividade, não é?
E a palavra é muito importante, não perder face também é muito importante. O japonês é muito exigente com o produto que compra. Há uma história muito interessante que partilharam no início, quando eu comecei a trabalhar, que há uma empresa portuguesa de bolachas que, quando começou a trabalhar no Japão, que fez o primeiro contentor, e o importador, passado 2 meses, telefonando a dizer que tinha um problema. Então, a pessoa perguntou qual era o problema. O consumidor fez uma reclamação, porque abriu um pacote de bolachas e uma das bolachas estava virada ao contrário. Então, disse, mas isso pode acontecer na linha de produção, não é... Vamos fazer assim, vamos parar, tu vens para cá viver durante 1 mês, vais entender a nossa cultura e depois retomamos o trabalho. E é mesmo assim, os japoneses é mesmo assim, né? Está habituado a viver naquele quadrado, e tudo o que sai do quadrado tem que ser muito bem explicado e tem que ser muito bem entendido.
Gerido, não é? Também.
Relativamente às oportunidades, as oportunidades são muitas no Japão. Agora lá está, um bocadinho o mesmo entendimento. Projeto a médio e longo prazo, apoiarem-se muito neste tipo de iniciativas, neste tipo de testemunhos que aqui estamos a fazer, conhecer muito bem o mercado, estudar muito bem o mercado. É um mercado que, depois de começarmos a trabalhar no mercado, é um mercado que tem um potencial bom de crescimento, mas até lá é duro e temos que ser muito persistentes, temos que nunca perder o nosso foco e apostar sempre na qualidade. Porque se não apostarmos na qualidade e na diferenciação, porque aí nós somos muito bons, vamos ser mais um. E mais um no mercado não faz sentido.
Muito obrigada, Nuno. Muito obrigada, Manuel. Vamos passar então a algumas questões que possamos ter na generalidade aos nossos oradores, tanto nacionais como internacionais. Eu tenho por acaso aqui uma dúvida para o Sr. Markham. Vou neste caso passar para inglês, se estiverem de acordo. Mr. Markham, I have a question actually. We were speaking here with Mr. Manuel and Mr. Nuno regarding the importance of loyalty in these markets. I have a question actually related to communication. Do you believe it's right to say that we should give an extra importance in communication in South Korea to the storytelling, to creating a narrative around the product and not only to the quality of the product? Would that be correct?
I understand your question, but would you more detailed explain to me?
Yes, we were discussing here a little bit about the importance of loyalty in the communication between our important in South Korea or in other Asian markets like Japan. And we wanted to have your feedback if while presenting ourselves and the company to this market, the importance of storytelling, the importance of explaining who we are, where we came from, a little bit about Portugal, probably as well, in order to create some headlines and some impact here when presenting the product. Do you believe is that important also in e-commerce or only more into the B2B relationship?
Yeah, definitely, because this world is connected world. Actually, there is lots of some interesting story. Even the Korean customer who cannot speak German, they visit the website and purchase the product. Unfortunately, the drink and the wine and alcohol cannot buy directly online. But if you present yourself the storytelling, the heritage of the story, how long this your wine and the quality, this is very impressive. Not just your buyer or vendor or distributor, but also your customer. So that's why the story, even you cannot build the Korean version of the website. If you're happy to the one of channel like a neighbor blog, you just present the localizing content. This is definitely happy to increasing brand awareness in the Korean market. So I strongly recommend you to at least to make a one page for the presentation of the category, even not covering all of the website, but just one page in Korean language. This is a distinguished experience to your potential client. Yeah. And other point is definitely sorry, but this is also embarrassing to me to not sharing my screen share. But one of the recommendation is that the Korea is very strong in the relationship business. So the meeting to the man-to-man or face-to-face, but also the visibility which will help to some potential synergy to your company selling in Korean market. So I saw that Chile, Portugal wine is the low brand awareness in Korea compared to Chile or the French, which means that there is more potential growth in the Korean market. So younger generation looking for Portugal wine, leveraging the World Cup season to increasing your presence in Korean market. Yeah, like a Ronaldo.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you so much, Mr. Kam. It was a pleasure. I actually have also a question here for Mr. Tsurumaki related to logistics, actually. Mr. Tsurumaki, could you please tell us if there is any type of Incoterms that is more used right now in Japan, or is it really a relationship to be and a subject to be discussed with our importer in Japan, or there is really more common Incoterm use right now?
Thank you for your questions. In terms of Incoterms, in our word, FOB business or CIF terms, I think it all depends of the trade, and it all depends of the private contract between the importer and exporter. But generally, in terms of food import from overseas to Japan, in my opinion, CIF business is more common. So exporters in the origin country, like a Portuguese supplier, they choose the shipping company and they nominate forwarding company. So the importers in Japan, they just wait for the container at the Japan port. This is general opinion. Is it enough, Alan-san?
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much, Mr. Tsurumaki. It was a pleasure.
Thank you very
much. Thank you. Also a question for Mr. Simon Tanda regarding Seoul and hotel food. We know that here in Europe, when we are participating in a trade fair like Sial or Anuga, it is normal to see a lot of international participants and visitors as well. Is it something that we could expect at this trade fair, or would we only be expecting to have visitors from Seoul and South Korea?
Yes, in terms of visitors to the show, definitely mainly would be from Korea. I would say a good 90% would be from Korea market. And in terms of exhibitors, then it would be very international. So we have companies from US, Canada to Japan, even to Brazil, to Italy, Germany, Spain. So in terms of exhibitors, it's largely international. In terms of buyers, then I would say it's definitely more focused on Korea. We have, I would say, the most international. You did the example of Sial and Anuga. I would say our Anuga in Asia would probably be FHA in Singapore, where you can find buyers from all over the ASEAN region. But for SFH, definitely more Korea.
Okay, thank you so much. I actually have another question related to, and I think it can be important as well for our speakers here, our Portuguese speakers. What would be actually the most relevant thing to do in a trade fair to catch the attention of the visitors? Is it something related to the stand? Does it need to be a great stand with a huge impact, or is it more also on the way we welcome people? Should we go and try to bring them to our stand? In your opinion, what is the best way to catch the visitor attention?
Yeah, that's actually a very good question. There are a few factors, I would say. One, which I mentioned before, is definitely to do also your homework before you go to the show. So, try to get in touch with buyers before you go so that you can invite them directly to your stand. Then once you're there, of course, visibility is a good point. We mainly work with national pavilions. So, for example, I mentioned the AEP had the Portuguese pavilion in Korea. So be part of a pavilion, of course, will give you more visibility. And usually it's also a very nice design. Last time I saw the AEP pavilion, for example, they had the Portuguese tail in white and blue. So it was very nice design. So that, of course, attracts the attention. And then, like you said, of course, being proactive and stop people, of course, be smiley, I've seen some exhibitors always looking at their phones or laptops or replying to emails. During the trade show, of course, you need to be available for people. You need to be proactive and and be happy at your stand, and definitely people will join you there.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Mr. Simon Tanda. It was a pleasure to have you. I thank our international speakers for their availability to be here today. I will now have a few words to our national speakers, but we thank you anyway. Caro Manuel, caro Nuno, falaram bastante aqui da questão da lealdade, não é? Do não virar a face, do conseguir obter um grau de confiança elevado por parte do vosso importador, mas acabamos por não falar aqui, ou falamos, mas de outra forma, sobre a importância também, ou o grau de dificuldade em conseguirmos angariar pela primeira vez o importador num destes mercados. Acreditam que a parte mais difícil, de uma certa forma, passa pela angariação e o desenvolvimento da confiança com o importador, ou, pelo contrário, pelo primeiro passo? Porque isso pode depender muito de mercado para mercado, não é? O que é que sentiram como sendo a vossa experiência aqui nestes dois mercados?
No nosso caso, repare que tanto a Aveleda como nós, iniciaram a sua atividade no ano de 1800 portanto, são empresas já centenárias. E quero dizer que, com toda a franqueza, que isso é um ativo muito forte. No caso da Coreia, na abordagem que nós tivemos, quando referíamos que íamos na quinta geração e que a empresa tinha iniciado a sua atividade em Vila Real Santo António, através de um andaluz, Sebastião Ramírez, em 1853, e depois explicámos todo o percurso ao longo da costa portuguesa, ao longo das gerações, etc. Acredito que foi uma agradável surpresa para ele entender isso. Ao primeiro ficou assim um bocadinho surpreendido, assim, isto já não existe. Os japoneses, quando falamos nisto, quando dizemos que a empresa tem mais de 100 anos, eles fazem aquela exclamação japonesa, não é? É giro, eles admiram muito isso. Não é?
Mais uma vez a importância do storytelling, não é?
Portanto, nós explicamos que andamos aqui há já uns anos, já atravessamos a Primeira Guerra Mundial, a Segunda Guerra Mundial, a febre amarela, portanto, todas as convulsões nacionais e internacionais já atravessamos, dificuldades económicas. No nosso caso, o nosso produto, nós funcionamos em contraciclo, ou seja, quando os ciclos económicos estão em baixo, a nossa atividade está em alta. No caso do Covid, foi quando nós crescemos 30%, quando nós funcionamos sempre em contraciclo e conseguimos de alguma forma antecipar. Avizinha-se aqui, a meu ver, é pena dizer isto, há uma mágoa, outro período difícil após Covid, que é o caso da guerra, mas acho que não fica por aí. Portanto, isto para dizer o que é que, voltar na sua questão, é uma agradável surpresa, valorizam muito isso, significa que é uma empresa que sabe de onde vem, onde está e para onde quer ir. Portanto, nós estamos a preparar a 6ª geração, portanto, eles admiram muito esta trajetória, esta visão de médio e longo prazo. Depois isso aliado à fábrica que nós temos, à unidade, nós fechamos 3 fábricas antigas, portanto, concentramos tudo numa nova planta, fizemos um investimento a voltar com tudo que há de melhor em termos de tecnologia. Dizem que é a fábrica que está no top 5 do melhor que há no mundo, dizem os auditores, não somos nós. Portanto, há aqui 2 fatores: storytelling, inovação, tradição. Isto traz confiança, traz solidez, traz bem-estar na relação, e a partir daí tudo flui. Isto faz-me lembrar um bocadinho o princípio do casamento. As pessoas namoram, conhecem-se, há uma confiança, estabelecem-se laços e a partir daí avançam por um matrimónio, se assim o entenderem.
É verdade, e também a isso pedem referências normalmente.
Exatamente. O negócio é um bocadinho isto também.
Muito bem, muito obrigada.
É muito na linha do que o Manuel estava a dizer e lá está, também temos a vantagem destas marcas icónicas, da qual eu me orgulho de fazer parte de uma, do Casal Garcia, já estarem há muito tempo na exportação. E isso facilita sempre, claro. Não só para nós, atenção, eu acho que não facilita só para nós,
para o importador também,
mas também para o importador e também para quem quer ir de Portugal para estes mercados a exportar, porque já existe uma referência de Portugal. Portugal já não é, já é um país que já tem alguma relevância. Obviamente que as nossas cotas de mercado são pequenas ainda, claro que sim, também somos um país pequeno, não é? Quer dizer, mas já temos a nossa importância e isso é um fator de muita ligação. Nós descobridores que mandamos também um bocadinho por todo o mundo, temos sempre alguma pegada aqui ou outro lado e somos vistos como um povo muito bem disposto, muito simpático, leal, confiável. Isso, claro, também nos ajuda, não é? Nós temos um país fantástico e quando eles nos visitam,
claro, ficam deslumbrados.
É mais-valia, portanto, visita fantástico. E sim, isso para mim é o que é mais relevante no início de uma relação. E infelizmente tem corrido muito bom.
Muito bem, muito obrigada, Nuno, muito obrigada, Manuel. Acho que podemos terminar a sessão dizendo que confiança, e-commerce e storytelling acabam por ser aqui palavras-chave para entrar no mercado do Japão e da Coreia do Sul. Agradecemos mais uma vez a vossa presença, neste caso online, não é? E gostaríamos de relembrar também que amanhã irá decorrer também um workshop relacionado com o mercado da China, também relacionado com os casos práticos do agroalimentar. Teremos outros oradores internacionais e nacionais. Falaremos também a 25 e a 26 de maio sobre o setor infraestruturas e materiais de construção, também sobre estes 3 mercados. E também a 29 e 30 de junho teremos outra ronda de workshops relativamente ao setor casa. Para mais informações, por favor, não se esqueçam de consultar as redes sociais da AEP e consultar também o site do projeto. Muito obrigada mais uma vez e bons negócios.